shack at. The bottles getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon. We be pubbing.
What up, campers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Wednesday, November 2nd to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. We are 48 hours away from Friday at the Breeders' Cup right here on Pub Sports Radio. It's Championship Saturday, 72 hours away. Oh, man, I sick again. The kids brought in this illness. I need to get over it and be at peak form for the Breeders. Peak form is what I need for the Breeders. I'm very, very excited about that. I'm very excited about today's show. NHL, NCAA football, MLB, and NBA on the program. And LJ from HTown opening up his NBA account here on Betting with the Bag. I'm excited to watch him rock this year. Last year, Durrell was the Rookie of the Year here at Pub Sports Radio. I have a feeling that LJ will be playing that role, opening up his account, gunning for 60%. Dutch almost got there last year, 59.8, and Durrell was right there at 58.9. I can't wait to see what LJ does in NBA this season. Shout out to all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Clint Starr, the diehard MMA podcast, says, how about those Coyotes? Nutflush Allen, Viper, NB, Ryan Mueller, Red Girl. Great to see Red Girl. Mr. Vape, Mike M. Razor Sharp Pick says, nice 2-0 sweep on Gambler's first glance yesterday. Yeah, nice work. Spenny Penny Bombs. Alfred 44. What a group. Mike M says, we got a minus 300 fade spot for NHL today. Currently through 5 games up, 10.5 units on the money line. Unbelievable, Mike. Unbelievable. RVD 420. Bo Jackson. Cashman 19 says, can't wait till Friday. Love handicapping the Breeders' Cup. Lucas Ryan says the JPZ intro gets me so pumped. Cashman says drink more Kraken helps the cold. I'm going to not drink any alcohol here for another 48 hours. I'm going to dry out a little more for the Breeders because I will be on the sauce for the Breeders. K Reed says hours and hours capping horses, a great time. Spenny says went over both cards last night. Will continue to narrow down my spots for the Breeders. There's Isaiah Scurry. Cindy plays horses. DC Capper. Dawn play. A great group. And we have a lot of work to do here. So the only thing important to me is you guys know about the Breeders in 48 hours. And we get this cash today. Wine Time Sports ready to eat. There's Twate Latte. Thank you so much for the dono, my friend. It was great capping with you on the Sunday night. The live betting with you on Sunday night was very, very fun. We need more Twate Latte in our lives. Bo Jackson says Vancouver Canucks played like the Abbotsford Canucks. They did not play well. They did not play well last night. The Sharps were all over the Devils. It was interesting. Interesting to see how many big bets were on the Devils. It was and then, of course, they bounced out to a 2-0, then a 4-0 lead. Disappointing. Von Polo says, can't wait until the horse races this weekend. Let's get to work right now. And Cashman says, what happened to Calgary blowing a 4-2 lead late? I'm happy they blew that 4-2 lead. I don't believe in them. Let's get to work right now. We get into NHL. My last 2 bets were on Friday. You guys know I opened the season 0-7. I lost my first 7 bets in NHL. Little slap in the face. But sometimes you need that. I'm getting one in NBA right now as well. On Friday, though, we cashed the Islanders' first period at plus 145, and we cashed the Coyotes' first period at plus 115, 2-0, up 2.6 units, and haven't moved since then. So let's get right to work. Cindy plays horses, says have the Friday card all capped out, going against a few chalks. I love it. Lucas Ryan swept NHL yesterday. I love that. Let's go. 7 p.m. Eastern, Philadelphia Flyers 5-2-2, 2-1-1 on the road at Toronto Maple Leafs 4-4-2, 3-1-0 at home. Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Felix Sandstrom expected to be in between the pipes. 0-2, 3.14 goals against average, 900 save percentage, going up against Ilya Samsonov, who's been quite good. 4-2-0, 2.35 goals against, average 920 save percentage. Philadelphia power play 19.4%, penalty killing 82.8%. Look at this Philadelphia Flyers squad. They have impressed 5-2-2. Did not expect that at all. BLab69 says Loshab did great in college football yesterday. That is no surprise to me. You know, I love Loshak and I love what he does. Toronto power play at 24.3%, penalty killing at 75.7%. There is panic in Toronto with this hockey team, and we'll break down the Leafs. We'll also break everything down here. Line history-wise, this opened up with the Leafs minus 308. They're now minus 325. Even with the Flyers on the second half of a back-to-back, could anybody possibly want to back the Leafs at this price? From a totals perspective, it opened up 6.5, heavily juiced to the over. Heavily, minus 129. There's been a huge move to the under. The under's gone from plus 112 to minus 113, a 25-cent move towards this under. Let's see where the cash is at. Clint says, are the Flyers good? No. Lee Davis had the Flyers last night in that 1-0 loss in overtime to the Rangers, man. Right side. And Mike M says the fade stats. Money line's up 10.5 units. The team total over for the dog is 5-0. The dog puck line is 5-0, and the money line is 4-1. I also think, Mike, that as you focus on this angle to help all of us, that it might be the first 10 games of the year and the last 10 games of the year where the minus 300 fade is most successful. I'd be very interested if that continues year after year. And that's another great thing about what we do here is we're going to be capping together for a long, long time. And I really wonder if that would be in play. Rodney Barton ready to go. Lucas Ryan. And there's Slatsy back from 7 days in Vegas, slightly profitable. But says, man, is that town expensive? Praise to the Bruins in cashing a 5-team parlay. Lucci says, how can you take the Leafs? Well, you can't. And that's what Mike M's talking about. Mike M's talking about the minus 300 fade. But unbelievably, with the Flyers on the second half of a back-to-back, somehow Sports Insights is still giving the Leafs some line value, which is shocking to me. Maybe about 12, 15%. Right now, 42% of the tickets are on the Leafs, 47% of the cash. 77% of the tickets and 98% of the cash is on the under. Wow. DC Capper, cash Philadelphia plus 140. I love it. And Nutflush Allen says you nailed it on the last 10 and first 10 on the team totals and the big dogs. I think so. It's going to be fun watching Mike M track all these stuff. You know, we got B-Lab, Mike M. We got all these different cappers tracking different angles for us, and it's really, really, really helpful. All right, let's discuss this spot here. Flyers on the second half of back-to-back after a hard-fought 1-0 overtime loss at the Rangers last night. Now, they were outshot 36-19, out-hit 27-14. But they are doing some things right. They won 58% of the face-off, so they have puck control. They're playing hard. The Farabee-Hayes Konechny line has been strong and is taking a ton of minutes. They're handling injuries very well. There is a fear around the league that Sean Couturier's career or his back injury could be career-threatening. I guess that's the best way of putting it. There's a ton of concern over his back injury. And there is a worry that Couturier will never come back. And I hope that's not the case. He's a great hockey player. They lost James Van Riemsdyk. He got off to a great start. He's out until December with a finger injury. They lost Cam Atkinson to an upper body injury that will keep him out for 3 more weeks. So this team is 5-2-2 and is missing 3 of their top 6 forwards. Tony DeAngelo's looked great on the back end. He's playing 24 minutes, 33 seconds a game. He has 7 points in 9 games, and he's a +3. He works well with Ivan Provorov. Spenny says, I mean, if the Leafs don't win this game, fire everyone. I want them to fire everyone regardless of what happens in this game. But they are panicking in Toronto. They opened their just finished 5-game road trip with a 4-1 win at Winnipeg before losing the final 4 games. The last one was a 4-3 overtime loss at Anaheim on Sunday. Anaheim got 39 shots on the Leafs, and the Leafs managed a paltry 9 hits in that game. 9 hits. John Tavares leads the team in scoring with 4 goals and 6 assists, but he's a -10. Morgan Riley is a -5 through 10 games. I feel like he's not a -10. I feel like even Tavares is a -5. I feel like I'm going over those stats in my head. Is he can't is Tavares really a -10? I think I would have. Is he really a -10? I don't think he is. I think I was looking at his points there. There's Hockey DB. He can't be. Right? He can't be a -10. He's -5. That makes more sense. Okay, Jesus. Looking at his point total. Wow. I just, it's very important not to give out wrong information here. So he leads the team in scoring 4 goals, 6 assists, but he's a -5. Morgan Riley's a -5. Austin Matthews has scored 1 even strength goal through 10 games. Injuries to Jake Muzzin and Jordy Ben have hurt their depth on defense, hurt their defensive defensemen. Mike M says Torts chose to not name a captain this season because he's the captain. Says Torts' style fits Philly well. I guess it does. Look, I don't like him, but I'm impressed at what he's done with this group. I don't even really know how you can have a lot of confidence in the under here in this game. Gary Tenebra says, how about them Sabres? I can't wait to talk about those Sabres. But honestly, I don't know how you can find an angle that you want to bet in this game. Clint says Flyers had a hard-fought under last night. No goals in regulation. Do they loosen up today? I don't know if you do loosen up when you got Tortorella 9 games into his coaching career in Philadelphia. So, Bo Jackson says keep an eye out for the second period. I mean, I don't want the Leafs. I don't want the Flyers on the second half of a back-to-back that goes to overtime at Madison Square Garden. I don't want to go up against all these people who believe it's going to be a very low-scoring game. And Spenny says, without Carter and net and how the Leafs play, the over has to be the look. Yeah, maybe. I can understand why it would be. But I also can understand not wanting to go up against a 25-cent move and 97% of the cash on the under. So we don't need to sit here and try to milk this when maybe there's no milk to be milked. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Pittsburgh Penguins 4-4-1, 1-4-1 on the road at the Buffalo Sabres 6-3-0, 3-2-0 at home. We're at KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York. Casey DeSmith 0-2-1, 2.97 goals against average, 913 save percentage. And regular is going to move on the Leafs full game under. That Leafs full game under is just -115. But to think of it was at +115. So, but I get it. Going up against Craig Anderson. I once despised this guy. Now I've become a big fan. I love that he came back wanting to have another year with the Sabres. I love that he's not the number one, that Comrie's taking that role, so he's not going to get, beaten down to a pulp. 1.66 goals against average, 946 save percentage through 3 games. Pittsburgh power play at 20.5%, penalty killing weak at 70.6%. Buffalo power play at 23.5%, penalty killing at 79.3%. Let's go into the line history here of this one. And the line history was confusing. It's not anymore, really, because of what happened an hour ago. It moved. There was a big move to the Sabres. But the line history was confusing, and it legitimately stopped me in my tracks. And we'll discuss it. The Sabres opened up at +102. That's where they are now, but they were +111 at 10:06 a.m. They were +114 at 9 a.m. So Pittsburgh on the second half of a back-to-back is taking money in a road back-to-back. From a totals perspective, this opened up at 6.5 as a pick'em, and now it's heavily juiced to the over, -124 to the over. Let's go to the cash flow here. You have 79% of the tickets and 90% of the cash. Thinking the exact same as me, why wouldn't you fade the Penguins off of that tough game? So if there's 79% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the Buffalo Sabres, why would they have made it even more even more glorious to back them? Why would they be open? Why would the books be opening up their arms saying, please come here and bet on the Sabres? It shocked me. 87% of tickets and 96% of cash on the over. Benjamin Mills says Pittsburgh was minus 130 last night. You know what, Benjamin? It's always going to come down to the books that you want to focus on. And I want to focus on Pinnacle. They're the sharpest book. They've always been. Maybe they don't have the edge or the hold over the market as they used to. But that's who I want to focus on. I think that gives us the most legitimate idea of the market. And they're a nervous book. Now, they came out, just to give you an idea, Benjamin, they opened this up at 8:05 at minus 115. And within an hour, it was minus 129. So within an hour, there was a 14-cent move to the Pittsburgh Penguins. So, as we work together here and figure out how we are going to succeed handicapping, we can all use different tools and utilize them differently. But for me, understanding that Pinnacle is cautious, didn't open up this line till 8 this morning, and there was an immediate move towards the Pittsburgh Penguins is much more telling than, an offshore that I don't trust opening up the line at minus 130. I believe that I am gaining much more prudent information than somebody looking at a minus 130 opening line. That's what I think. So, but to each their own. So let's talk about this a little more. The Penguins on the second half of a back-to-back after losing their fifth straight game, 6-5 at home in overtime to the Bruins last night. They had a 5-2 lead with 9 minutes left in the second and couldn't shut the door. This is going to be an angry, angry group. They had scored 3 goals in their previous 3 games. Crosby and Malkin looked strong to start the year. Gensel returned from injury on October 29th, as did Zucker. When they were struggling early on that road trip, we talked about it being because Gensel and Zucker are hurt. Now they're back, and they put 5 goals on the Bruins and should have won that game, and they're angry. Letang has not looked good to start the season. 4 assists, no goals, and he's a -5. That contract's going to be a weight around Pittsburgh's shoulders. I've talked about it often. This is going to be the worst contract in the NHL when it's said and done. Now, maybe you could say there's going to be a $10 or $11 or $12 million contract that's worse, and that's a fair thing to say. But $6.1 million a year until 27, 28, when he's 41 years old, he's got a no trade, no movement clause, no trade clause for the first 4 years. In the last 2 years of his contract, he's allowed to give a list of 10 teams that he'd be willing to move to. So this is the final game of a 4-game homestand for the Sabres. They lose 3-2 to Montreal to open it up, and they barely get by Chicago 4-3 in overtime. Then they beat up on Detroit 8-3 on Monday night. So it's easy to think to only look at that 8-3 win on Monday night, but that was 2 ugly games between Montreal and Chicago. Mike M says Sabres in the 7-1 spot tonight. Pens just off the Bruins game. I get it. Jared JB says, about 48 hours until the Breeders' Cup. My liver isn't prepared. There's Sky Dragon in the house. Look, I love the Sabres team. And I would like nothing more than to fade the Penguins here. But something's not right. Something is not right here. Dahlin looks on his way to win his first Norris Trophy. He's the best defenseman in the NHL. 6 goals, 6 assists through 9 games, and he's a +9. Now, can his body hold up throughout an 82-game season? I believe it will, but he's got to prove that. It also works out perfectly for Sabres fans because Owen Power gets to watch Dahlin. Alex Tuck is fitting beautifully. Tage Thomas is playing great. The Sabres have a bright future. Rocco Rogers says, I feel like this over seems too easy, but it's the play. Rocco Rogers says, good morning, everybody. The Islanders game was a beaut last night. However, Flames were not. Let's strike back today. So something's not right here. I, like you guys, thought immediately, well, you got to bet on the Sabres. But it's just not sitting right for me. So I think that the Penguins' first period is probably the best bet in this game. An angry Penguins group, allowing the Bruins to come right back. But I don't want to fade Craig Anderson, and that's a problem. Obviously, I have a bias because I really like him, and I don't really want to fade the Sabres. Tage Thompson, Lucas Ryan. I didn't say Tage Thomas. Don't put that shit on me. I am sick, but I didn't say Thomas. So maybe this is okay. We'll go back. Tage Thomas. I think I got Tage Thompson in the hockey pool. I fucking love him. I want to buy his jersey. I'll go back. I'll make a note of it. I'll go back, Lucas. Yeah, I think there's going to be scoring. I also think the Penguins are probably going to win this hockey game now. The over 1.5 in the first period is minus 170. I'm certainly not going to play with that juice. Jordy Nordman says, what up to me? Really missing Ontario today. Massive snowstorm out here. Good thing I have this show to listen to on my 2-hour drive to work. Oh, Nordy, I love you. Jay Vegas says, hope you caught a piece of Oilers money line with McDavid to score yesterday. Nice job, Jay Vegas. So I think this is a very angry Penguins hockey team. Losers of 5 straight, letting the Bruins come back. And I think I should back them in the first period here, which is a complete flip to my plan initially. And I'm going to do that. Pens first period, minus 120. And Lee Davis says it's Comrie in that. That's happened so often to me. Every time I think it's going to be Craig Anderson, it's wrong. Is it Comrie? Is Comrie being confirmed? Jesus. Okay. God, every time I get... Well, Jay Vegas says Pens going to bounce back today, taking puck line. Ron Crawford, spreadsheet play of the day is on Buffalo. Let's get that in here. I agree that we should be very nervous that the market did not move to the Sabres when all the money's on them. So that's why we talk these things out. Pens first period for me at minus 120. Thank you, Astute Chaos. Yes, I did open up 0-7 in NHL. So I know you're looking at the 12 and 14, 1.49 units thinking, that's a shit start. And you're right. But I am digging myself. Well, I guess you don't dig yourself out of a hole. I am climbing out of a hole. And when you see my NBA record, I got hurt on Thursday and Friday badly, and that's ugly. But the one thing I'll tell you is whether it's embarrassing or what, the one thing we promise you, and it's more important than anything else, is honesty, because you guys see what goes on in this industry. There's not a lot of that shit. So, all right, Pens first period at minus 120 for me, a complete reversal from my plan. JR says Pitt will win. And let me just state it one more time. At this point right now, 90% of the cash is on the Buffalo Sabres. And everybody thought the same thing. Well, I got to take the Sabres, fourth game of a homestand against. Also, I want you guys to also keep an eye on certain things. Now, I like to do this on a longer homestand, like a 5-game or 6-game, but always look at that second to last game before of the homestand. Teams just seem to be in comfort zone. Here they won 8-3 over the Red Wings. All right, that's it. Lee Davis says Pens and under. There has been a big move to the over, and all the cash is on the over. And if you wanted to outsmart the books, you could try to do that. I just think that something's fishy here. All right, I'm locked in. I'm on the Pens first period, minus 120, a very angry group. After a 5-2 lead with 9 minutes left in the second, the Bruins come back and win overtime. They've lost 5 straight. Okay, we move on. That is NHL. We move on to college football. Look forward to see that record up. In college football, you'd be like, how have you possibly only bet 35 games this year? And we talk about the stakes being high. And, this isn't anymore. It's not a recreation. This is our life is on the line to succeed. And I was like, why don't I succeed in college football? And it's because if I only use the games that I cap with you guys here, with all the great cappers in the chat, and whether or not I have a guest, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. It just matters that I cap with you guys. My ROI is through the roof. So why would I bet any game where I don't do that? So all 35 of those games, I've capped here on the show with you guys. And look at that fucking stellar record. All right, let's get to work. 7 p.m. Eastern, Central Michigan Chippewas, the Chips. 2-6, 1-3 in the MAC at the Northern Illinois Huskies. 2-6, 1-3 in the MAC. Husky Stadium, DeKalb, 62 Fahrenheit, clear 9 miles per hour. Jay Vegas says Central Michigan has covered once in their last 7 tries. He's leaning to Northern Illinois. There are so many moving parts to this game. If we talk about this game fully and I don't move on, and I'll be very comfortable with that because I think there's a legit angle in the Bowling Green game. And the note, I've got 3 pages of notes on this game. It is a confusing one. 62 Fahrenheit, clear 9 miles per hour. Let's start with the line history here in DeKalb. Over here to college football. God, I've been sick and I've been capping hard because we got the horses coming up and I've just kind of been in a shitty mood. And as soon as I get to cap with you guys, I start feeling like, I don't know, fucking good again. Like I got a purpose now again. The Huskies opened up -4.5. They're now -6. So they opened up -4.5 and they went down to -3.5. That was the first move once this line opened up at Pinnacle. Actually, that was a bookmaker opening line. Let's go to Pinnacle. Pinnacle opened this up at -3.5. Gets up to -4, 5, and 6. Interesting. And this was opened on Saturday. Oh, no, excuse me, Sunday. So it's just been constant movement towards the Huskies. From a total perspective, it opened up at 56. It's now at 56.5. Let's see if the cash is correlated with all of that. Mike M says when NIU is lined anywhere but -3, they stomp them. Give me NIU at -5.5. Ross Pitt says, give me the Huskies, baby. In college football, we have 8,486 tickets bet in Central Michigan, Northern Illinois. 63% of the tickets and 80% of the cash is on Central Michigan. That is wild. All that money on Central Michigan. And they're just saying, look, you want them at 4, here's 5. You want them at 5, here's a +6. Wow. That is wild. 53% of the tickets and 72% cash on the over. Wow. Ronnie and Burgius is waiting on the 7. The winner of this matchup will keep their bowl hopes alive for another week. Both teams coming off their bye. Same thing in the game that follows this. Central Michigan was last seen in a 34-18 loss at home versus Bowling Green as 6-point favorites. McElwain is not happy. He's pissed off. Daniel Richardson, their starting quarterback, their sophomore, who had a great season last year. Last year, he 24 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Thought he was going to be the long-term look at quarterback, even though he's just 5'10". 13 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the season. And he was 3 of 5 for 19 yards when he was pulled versus Bowling Green. He was replaced after that very ugly first half by Jace Bauer, freshman. And Bauer looked pretty good. They're also dealing with injuries. Lou Nichols, their star running back, missed the Bowling Green game, and it's unclear if he'll be ready to go. I tried to find out. I spent a lot of time trying to find out if he'd be ready to go. 2 weeks ago against Akron, Marion Lukes was excellent. But I shouldn't say he was excellent. He started out very strong. And then in the second quarter, late in the second quarter, he leaves to the locker room, comes back with a walking boot. They're already down sophomore Miles Bailey and redshirt freshman Christian Brown. So that's the top 4 running backs on their depth chart. So they bring in redshirt freshman Jake Tefelsky. I mean, that is not a good sign. Let's talk about NIU. Last year's MAC champion having a terrible season. After beating Eastern Illinois in the opener, they've lost 6 of their last 7 games. So it's injuries at quarterback that have doomed them, obviously. Rocky Lombardi, we thought after his transfer, was going to be the real deal here in DeKalb. Michigan State transfer. He won that game against Eastern Michigan. And then he left the Vanderbilt game due to an injury. Ethan Hampton took over as starter for the next 3 games. And he looked okay, 798 passing yards. And then he got hurt. So then Justin Lynch starts the next 2 games. So I read an article from Northern Illinois school article. And it was that Rocky Lombardi is coming back to save the season. So they break their 5-game losing streak in that road game against Eastern Michigan. And everything is going to work out now. And then they don't start him. In that last game at Ohio, as 2.5-point favorites, Rocky Lombardi was not under center. Why? So the school articles are saying Rocky Lombardi is coming back to save the season. So why was he not under center in that loss at Ohio? They were 2.5-point favorites. Why? That's what I'm wondering. Why? The Huskies are second in the MAC in rushing offense, 202.3 yards per game. They have Harrison Whaley and Ontario Brown, and Central Michigan is pretty good at stopping the run. Northern Illinois is giving up 32.5 points and 5.53 yards per play to MAC opponents, but how is that? How is Central Michigan going to be able to take advantage of that? So I'm surprised that the total is so high. 56 now, up to 56.5. 72% of tickets on the over. I don't want to go up against that. You know what? I don't know how, unless you have information on why Rocky Lombardi isn't starting, how you can move on this game. Why did he not start last game? There's just so much confusion around this game, and I tried to get the answers for you guys, and I was not able to do it. So 80% of the cash is on the chips, and now it's up to 6. This is just very difficult. Thank you, Chase White, my man. I love that you've been eating. Jake Burns excited about college basketball next week. Jay Vegas says, with the exception of the Michigan game, this is the lowest total set for Bowling Green since, when we get to the Bowling game, 2021. Take the over 47.5 tonight. Western Michigan has given up 78 points in the last 2 games. I feel like in that game, we can find an angle that we can trust. So I don't want to be, I just can't trust anything here, and I'm not going to force it. So there's no move for me. Ronnie and Berger says ineffectiveness. You're probably right, Ronnie. But I watched him last year change everything and take this team to the MAC championship. But you're probably right, Ronnie, but I just don't know. I don't get it. And all those school articles saying Rocky's coming back to save the season, it's just it's confusing and uncomforting. Let's move on. Let's move on to 7 p.m. Eastern. Western Michigan 3-5, 2-2 in the MAC at Bowling Green, 4-4, 3-1 in the MAC. Doyt L. Perry Stadium in Bowling Green, Ohio. 59 Fahrenheit clear, 3 miles per hour is the wind. Let's go here. Move over to this. So we've had another big move here. Bowling Green opening up as 3.5-point favorites. They're now 5-point favorites. From a total standpoint, they opened up at 47. They're now at 48. Both teams, again, coming in off their bye week. Let's take a look at the cash. They've given Bowling Green, Sports Insight's given Bowling Green about 18, 17% line value. 10,957 tickets in. 39% of the tickets and 53% of the cash with a decent sample size is on Western Michigan. But we see the market moving heavily over towards Bowling Green. That's confusing. Then 48% of the tickets and 56% of the cash on the under. Let's see if we can decipher this one. Ex-Cal in the house. Great to see you. Western Michigan snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 16-10 win at Miami of Ohio as 6.5-point underdogs. They need to win at least 3 of their last 4 games here to get a second straight bowl appearance under Tim Lester. Their offense is really bad. They're last in the MAC, averaging 4.6 yards per play. They had redshirt freshman Jack Salopek as their primary starter. He was really bad, 50.8% completion rate, 7 touchdowns, 10 picks. He suffered a knee injury against Ohio. And then true freshman Trayson Bourget got the start in the Western Michigan game against Miami of Ohio. He was 16 of 33 for 123 yards, which isn't very good, but he didn't turn the ball over. And that's really what they needed because they still believe in their running game, even though it's been pretty weak this year. It was so strong last year. There's Jedi for Life in the house. DC Capper leaning on Bowling Green -4.5 and the over 48. So I think I can explain some of these issues here. First off, and I've got some angles in this game. It's easy. It's easier to stop. I mean, we just saw the Texans unable to stop the Titans when they knew they were going to run. But when you know a team can only beat you on the ground, you can fill the box and you can dare the quarterback to beat you. And clearly, Salopek was incapable of doing that, and he threw 10 interceptions. And then Bourget comes in and he doesn't force things. So you have an offensive line here for Western Michigan that returned just 2 starters. And you have Sean Tyler and Ladarius Jefferson, who were incredible last year. 2,000 yards combined, 19 touchdowns. Through 8 games, you have 764 yards and 9 touchdowns. And then on Monday, 2 days ago, Lester announced that Jefferson's been suspended from the program indefinitely. So Ladarius Jefferson's probably played his last game for the Broncos. So that probably doesn't help the room. Bowling Green is gotten better and better and better through Leffler's 4 years at the helm. They're coming off their second straight win, 34-18 at Central Michigan. At first I was like, 3 fumbles and an interception. Like, that's pretty fortunate for them. But as I dug deeper, this is what this defense does. And they lead the MAC in their turnover ratio. They are giving up 24.3 points per game. They have the number 1 pass defense. They've only surrendered 5 touchdowns through the air in the first 4 MAC games. And yeah, they allowed 166 yards per game on the run, but this is a good defense. 32 sacks. Carl Brooks leads the conference with 7.5 sacks, 12 tackles for a loss. You have Matt McDonald, who's gotten better and better. He's tied for second in the MAC with touchdown passes with 16. He threw 12 last season. Now, their rushing attack is weak. It's very weak, not to be trusted. And the Broncos have a real good rush defense. I mean, the Broncos are only allowing 117 yards per game. Mike says it means dump and pump. Well, I would like to back Bowling Green here. I think Western Michigan is done. I think they're done. I think you're asking Bourget to do too much here. Now, all you have is Sean Tyler in the backfield. How do the other players feel that Ladarius Jefferson left the team? Bowling Green has been this team that's been stomped on year after year, and all of a sudden, under Leffler, they have hope. I don't like that it's 39% and 52% on Western Michigan. I don't like that. But I really do think that this is the spot. Bleds W, what up, my man? Bananas and grapes, what's happening? I think that Western Michigan season is over. And I don't know how they're going to put up points. And maybe that's the better angle. Let's see what that would be if I took their team total under for Western Michigan. Now, again, you'd love to have somebody at Western Michigan who could tell us exactly what it means that Ladarius Jefferson is being bounced from the team. But the Western Michigan point total at 20.5. Scarminati, thank you. I hope you do too as well. Ryan Mueller. Ryan Mueller's all over this game. Wow, look at all that. He also has Matt McDonald over 200 passing yards, Sean Tyler over 80 rushing yards, and Bowling Green halftime, full-time. It's a changing of the guard in the MAC. And all of a sudden, Bowling Green could be 4-1 after this game. And I'm going to move on them. I'm going to take Bowling Green. And I'm going to take Western Michigan team total under. Ronnie and Bergia doesn't like that 4.5. I get it. I'm just telling you how I'm going to attack this game. All right, we move into MLB. We are 15 minutes away from NBA. I have 20.5, Sean Dozier, on the team total. If I think that this game could move further to the over, which I'm not sure it will, I could. And Nuffle Sean says, where can you get the Bowling Green team total at? The Bowling Green team total does. I mean, I love that Jay Vegas expects points here, but Bowling Green team total is at 27.5. Bowling Green team total is at 27.5. Sean Dozier, if you got 21, I like that. I would much prefer to have 21 myself. It's interesting that the spread at Bet365 is 4.5, but they're giving the team total at 27.5 for Bowling Green and 20 for Western Michigan. I think that answers some questions right there. All right, that is college football. So far in NHL and college football, we have the Penguins first period. Nice job, Coin. Bet Online team total at 25.5. Thank you, Gas Report. Yes, it's the young kids, man. The kids going to school, coming back sick. And then I have Bowling Green, Western Michigan team total under. All right, I'm locked and loaded. Let's move on to MLB World Series Game 4. Everybody wants to talk about this series, and I get it. This is shaping up to be a possible classic, but Astros need to step up. Let's bring on the host of Say Hey Plays to join us here to talk about Game 4 of the World Series in Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Please welcome Jose Bouquet to the show. Jose, how are you?
I'm all right. I have been better. We can't complain. My hair looking more ragged than usual, but yeah, we're all right. Can't complain.
How do you feel about the Houston Astros being down 2-1 right now in the series?
It's tough. They lost. The Phillies have won, and the Astros have lost every game that I kind of thought would be the challenging games for them. Game 1, we thought, would be kind of dicey. First time seeing each other, and Verlander hasn't been good. And then Game 3, first time in Philadelphia, obviously a tough game to win. So, obviously I said Astros sweep, but, this is kind of going according to the Philadelphia Phillies script right now. So we'll see if they can. The name of the game right now for the Astros is just getting out of Philadelphia. They just need to get one win to get out of there. And it is very much escape from New York, escape from Philadelphia vibes right now.
I agree. And they may not be able to get out of Philadelphia.
They might not. They might not.
They might not. I was a little surprised to see the Astros plus 130 to win the series. I thought it would be higher.
I agree. I said the same exact thing. I was like, oh, we'll probably like plus 200. Maybe I take another nibble at them. And I was like, oh, plus 130. They know they're going to win this game then, or something like that.
Something. I didn't think 200. I thought 165. But 130 was a shock. You're right. The market is saying that the Astros are
dead.
Yeah. 60 Fahrenheit at first pitch, 4.3 miles per hour right to left, dies down to 3.6 miles per hour. It's perfect weather for baseball. Cashman 19 says Nola much better at home going up against Christian Javier. And Nufflashan says Westgate showing a 25.5 minus 110 Bowling Green. Well, that's a hell of a lot better than the 27.5. Bo Jackson says, told you all I got Phillies in the first 2 home games. Bo Jackson's got Phillies in 6. The Phillies don't want to go back to Houston under any circumstances. Let's talk about the line history here, the cash flow, and then hand it over to Jose Bouquet. Also, in 12 minutes, we have an 11-game NBA card, and LJ from HTown opening up his account here for the season.
Bars.
Yeah, he's the truth. He's the multi-talented.
I would love to see LJ and JPZ collab with something.
I would too. You're damn right. Philly opens up at plus 103. They're now minus 102. A 5-cent move to the Philadelphia Phillies. From a total perspective, opening up at 7.5 minus 110 to the under. It's now minus 117 to the under. It got up to minus 120. Take a look at the cash flow. I think this will be telling. 8,259 tickets in, 46% of the tickets and 64% of the cash on the Philadelphia Phillies. 85% of the tickets and 87% of cash on the under. So that makes sense to me. I think we can have confidence in Javier having a strong game. And I think the expectation is that Nola will bounce back at home with all of this confidence. Know Something wants to know if you've ever purchased a mattress from Mattress Mac.
I have not. That crusty old fuck would never give someone that looks like me any kind of money, so no chance.
Javier, 11-9, 2.54 ERA, 0.95 WHIP, 148 and 2/3, 194 Ks, 52 walks, 17 home runs in the regular season. His last start at the Yankees felt like a coming of age start for who is going to be a spectacular pitcher. In a tough environment, he threw 5 1/3. He allowed 1 hit, 5 strikeouts, 3 walks. I think he's going to step up here. The market is saying that Nola will step up here. Nola, 11-13, 3.25 ERA, 0.96 WHIP, 205 innings, 235 Ks. In his last start, he got touched up in Houston. And he hasn't had a very good postseason. 21 and 2/3. He's allowed 11 earned runs, 4 homers. The Astros are not hitting righties in the postseason very hard. 220, 687 OPS. Phillies are hitting 221, but 753 OPS. Astros bullpen has been excellent. 0.81 ERA, 0.79 WHIP through the playoffs. And Phillies bullpen 2.45 ERA, 1.05 WHIP. Who would have thought that they could turn their bullpen around so quickly?
Well, they're using like 3 guys now.
Yeah, well, you have to.
Yeah, and hey, guess what? Half of them are from Venezuela. Gang.
Well, take it away, Jose Zinata. 1 hole, 2 fingers. No. Yes, it is 1 hole, 2 fingers. Sorry, I mean ill. Take it away for us.
Like a booster shot of some sort, like some immune booster or something. Whatever Magic's on to boost his immune. You should get that. I like the Astros here, obviously. I took Astros money line last night. I've been betting Astros -1 every game in the series. I'm 3-2 now, 3-2. On top of that, I've been betting a team total over 3.5. Last night, I didn't bet it because it was like -140 or something. And I was like, well, I'm not going to bet it. So luckily, I got my ass saved there. Both team totals here are 3.5. And I was looking at the Phillies really hard, I'll be honest. I looked at the Phillies team total a long time. They're hitting home runs out the ass. In Philadelphia, they put up a stat on Fox last night. It was like 11 a home run every 11 at bats for the Phillies at home. So it's kind of ridiculous, but the storyline the big factor coming out of that game last night was Lance McCullers was tipping his pitches, and it was pretty obvious. Jimmy, I got 2 separate text messages. One from a friend. Well, they both played baseball, but one who was in the Astros system. We all know I have a friend in the Astros system, and he said immediately Lance is tipping his pitches. Like, and Bryce Harper caught it during his home run. Told Alec Boehm, told the rest of the dugout. And then, from then on out, they just had his pitches and he was fucked from there. He won't say he was tipping his pitches, but, whatever. He was throwing a bunch of curveballs, and every time they threw a curveball, they seemed to know it was coming. So I will take that game. I'll put it in my memory and say, wow, it was a lot of home runs. But I'll say that Lance McCullers, I think obviously Christian Javier is a better pitcher. Now, his ownage of the Yankees is hilarious to me, and it does concern me a little bit because maybe it's just Christian Javier owns the Yankees. He just dominates them, slaps them around, does everything he wants with them. Philly's obviously a different squad, a much patient squad with Kyle Schwarber leading the way. So I'm on the Astros money line here. I took out at minus 105 last night at our friends at Bet Online, but I definitely was looking at that team total over 3.5, minus 110 for the Phillies. If I would be backing the Phillies here. And obviously, just take the Phillies home run prop at this point. Just sprinkle some of them, Rhys Hoskins, Bryce Harper, just get some prices. They're probably not as good as, as usual, but I mean, at this rate, they just keep smacking dingers at the end of the day. So, and by the way, I think it was with you. We talked about this series, and I said before the series, if you're going to bet the Phillies to win this series, just bet Bryce Harper to win series MVP. It was like plus 400, 500, 600 around there. And this is just storybook. He's got his name written on that trophy if the Phillies win this. So my Rhys Hoskins bet is just out the window already.
Yeah, it's Bryce's time to step up heavy.
And he has.
He has.
And and by the way, it might be the NL East just owns the Astros. The Nationals, the Braves, now the Phillies are about to beat the Houston Astros in the World Series. What the hell? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I am not sure Houston's going to get out of Philadelphia with the series.
Yeah, that's the concern. That's been the Phillies' mojo this whole postseason. Get one on the road, sweep them at home.
Let's talk about Aaron Nola. Now, this is just for my action. I think Javier, it's not a Yankees thing. It's that he's a big game pitcher. I can count on him. That doesn't mean that I can count on the Astros. So if that's the case, and there's what seems like sharp action on the under, the question now is, can I trust Aaron Nola? With the 5-cent move towards Philadelphia, I think the market is saying that Nola's going to pitch well here. What happened in game 1 when he got touched up, and what are your expectations of him here?
I think he gets touched up again, honestly. I do think the Astros are still a good ball club, and their offensive warriors scare me. Jordan has not done anything in a long time. He's just been silent, and it's concerning, yes, and he's a younger player, so maybe the spotlight's just a little bit too big, but somebody's got to step up on that lineup. I don't think it's a home road splits thing with Nola, really. I haven't looked at the home road splits in a long time for the regular season, but I do remember his being fairly even, Wheeler's being a little more dramatic. And I'm pulling them up right now just to quote them exactly. Yeah, it's a 3.59 at home and a 3 on the road, and about 100 innings pitched in both sides. So I kind of expect the same, like 5 innings, 4 earned runs type deal. But the X factor that, a lot of us didn't figure into the calculations, the Phillies bullpen has just been phenomenal. And they're going to keep using Jose Alvarado and Sir Anthony Dominguez to get out of those big spots. #Venezuela gang again. So if even if Wheeler goes 6 innings, they're going to give it to their stellar bullpen right now. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Astros bats adjust. And again, I thought it was really ironic that the Astros get bitten in the ass by the other team knowing their pitchers going into them. But if the Astros do not show any offensive life this game, they're not going to get out of Philadelphia.
Well, I shouldn't take the first 5. I don't think that makes sense. With the big break, everybody in the Phillies bullpen should be good to go today.
Yeah, I think even in the playoffs, I think everyone's going no matter what. I think the adrenaline of being at home for those Phillies arms just really just saps away any soreness when they get out there.
So you have both bullpens being elite in the postseason. So also the 3.5. Whenever you get a second 7.5, it's so interesting to see. Are you going to get the 4 first 5? Because that's telling. Are you going to get the 3.5? Will the 3.5 be a pick'em? When the 3.5 is a pick'em on a 7.5, I love going under. Here, the 3.5 is juiced pretty strong to the over.
I like the over in this game as well. I mean, just full game. So
why is that?
I think if the Phillies win this championship, it's going to be on the back of their offense. I don't think any of their pitchers are really like. I think there's a great comment. Robert Franklin saying he thinks Nolan gets cracked, and he thinks that Wheeler's hiding an injury. I think there's something wrong with Wheeler too. Obviously, their velocities are down. So there's been a little bit of mentions of that, but Wheeler not throwing in the next game is a little surprising for me. It's going to be Syndergaard next game, allegedly. As of right now, whatever, we'll see what happens. It obviously could change. And they're going to throw Wheeler in game 6. I was a little surprised by that. So I would agree with Robert Franklin. I think it's obviously got to be the offense is carrying him here. And I think that, the home run power from the Phillies is just something else. I have not checked the weather report. I don't know if the wind's going to be a factor.
No wind.
I would say it obviously didn't even matter last night. But I just think the home run potential from the lineup 1 through 9, even with guys like Bryson Stott right now, is a little too scary to take first 5 under here. But, I like Christian Javier a lot, and he's been in these postseason games often. Not as a starter too much. Obviously, he went out there against the Yankees and dominated, but he's been in a lot of postseason games as a reliever and long relief and stuff like that. So I think he's going to be okay in the Philadelphia atmosphere, better than most.
Nola's velocity. Can you touch on that? How much is it down?
Let's check out our friend at Baseball Savant, because I can tell you, but it was, let me double check. Jimmy, off the top of your head, what was the game that he pitched? Do you know what the date it was?
I should have put down the date and I didn't, but it was game 1. I'll get you that date right now.
Beautiful. No, I got it.
Okay.
And we go to player breakdowns. Oh, that was Zach Wheeler, of course. I'm on the wrong one. See, you think you find the game and then you go back. But yes, I can summarize. It's basically the Astros, or not the Astros, the beat writers for the Phillies were saying, oh, this is weird. His velocity's kind of down a bit, et cetera, et cetera. So his velocity, is a yearly average of, I'm looking at, it's been 92.8, and I'm thinking Wheeler for full season was at a 95. Now I'm looking again here. Yeah, average yearly was a 94. So from a 92.8 to a 94, there is a little bit of drop off there. And they were mentioning more with Nola as well.
That's who I want to know about.
Wheeler.
I want to know Nola.
Yeah, 94.4 to down to 92.8.
Wow.
So.
Wow. And the 3.5 is juiced to the over. Wow. Well, I guess that's going to affect my plan. I guess what's happened now is I've gone from the first 5 under, focusing on maybe some concerns about Nola and trusting the bullpens, to the full game under. The question is, do you trust that if there's any sign of Nola getting touched that he'll be yanked right away? Or do you think that they'll
No, I
let
think
this
they'll
game
let him
go?
ride. I think they'll let him ride.
Wow.
You know, I think that with their two dudes, I think they let those dudes ride. I forget Rob Thompson. I think he's an old schoolish manager and let those dudes eat.
Noli No saying Javier ERA since August 1st, 1.26. Are you surprised that at Bet365 it's a pick 'em for the full game, but first five, the Phillies are favored? Would you think that would be the other way around?
Well, I mean, technically for me, it opened at minus 105 each way, full game as
But
well.
what are you surprised that the Phillies are the favorites first five is more
A
what
little
I'm-
bit, yeah, a little bit to be honest. I would lean Astros again, but I've got my Astros bias here. Shout out to Matty Ice who's saying, or he's been betting. He's also liking, I should say, Harper over 1.5 bases plus money, saying auto bet each and every game. So I like that.
Well, I have flipped. I flipped. I'm going to change the plan, and what is the one angle? Okay, we know the Phillies have all the momentum. Place is going nuts. The hitters believe in themselves. And when Javier went to New York, that wasn't the case for the Yankees. They were down and they didn't look. They didn't have a ton of life there. But so that's a difference here. But I just think that Javier is a big game pitcher. I think he's special. And I'm not saying that Nola isn't. But I don't want to bet against the Phillies. But I do think that Javier on the bump with Nola losing a little bit of velocity gives the Astros a first five advantage.
Yeah, I've been just taking full games just because if I like them first five, my reasoning is if I like them full first five, I'll take them full game because I ultimately trust the Astros bullpen too. And if you're taking the Phillies, you obviously trust their bullpen too. So whatever you take first five, I've been taking full game in my head.
Razor says Phillies undefeated at home. Their game one starter is pitching and they're only minus 103. Something is not right.
Yep. The undefeated at home is concerning. For sure.
But
it does not make me feel great. The Phillies do have all the Team of Destiny vibes. Like they've got all that stew. They've got the face. Dude can be a face of baseball. They have a championship song, which really matters. That's something you people that have not won a World Series, you heathens out there, you guys don't know about. There's always a song or a theme song to your World Series, and the Phillies have that. They actually stole it from the Red Sox last year, those fuckers. But it's scary to bet against the Phillies, and I do not love betting against the Phillies. And every time the Phillies do something great, it just Twitter explodes and everyone's cheering for the Phillies. No one's rooting for the Astros. I'm just sitting back like, fuck.
I think that Razor's right to be uncomfortable with the line here. Okay, I'm flipping the switch. I'm not going to move on any unders. I'm just going to take the Astros first five. I feel a little different about the first five in the full game. And it's not that, we know Astros bullpen is elite. It's that I don't want to mess with the Phillies magic. And I'd rather cut the game down to as short as possible with the edge I believe I have on Javier against Nola. Now, this would be possibly different if Javier had thrown 22 innings this postseason and Nola had thrown 6. And Nola was fresh and his velocity was up and he was at home. Then maybe it's a different situation. So Matty Ice will be on the Phillies tonight. I don't want to mess. If the Astros being up 2-1 after 5 or something like that, and the Phillies still winning this baseball game is a possibility here. They've got magic in those sticks right now.
Yep.
And I'm going to take the first 5. Jose's on the Astros full game. Sean Dozier says Nola coming off back-to-back bad road starts. This is a bounce-back game at home. And Matty Ice says Nola's velocity will be back to normal tonight. I have full faith in that. And
Marty better than me.
And Marty Muerte says, what are the odds the best team loses to the hot team in the World Series? I mean, we've seen that often. Spreadsheet stat is on the Phillies here.
Man, it's really, they might lose in 5, the Astros, huh? This is gonna be crazy. And Jimmy, the fucking I've heard me say this fucking several times now, and it makes me sick to my stomach every time. The Philadelphia Renaissance is coming true. The Phillies are gonna win this World Series, apparently. The Philadelphia Union and the MLS are in their finals. They're about to win an MLS Cup. The Flyers are somehow good, apparently. We all have seen that. The 76ers can continue to be a dumpster fire, but they'll get their shit together when they fire Glenn Rivers. And then the Eagles are going to make the Super Bowl too. The Philadelphia Renaissance. Just keep betting Philly teams, apparently.
Yeah. Sky Dragon says fly, Eagles fly. Okay, I'm in business. I'm on Astros first 5. Jose's Astros full game. There's Sean in the house. Great to see you. And, Mike saying that 2-3-2 series is a disadvantage for the favorite.
I agree with that.
If the favorite doesn't sweep at home.
And that's tough to do. Winning 2 games, obviously, especially against a team that's the other team's supposed to be the best in their league. It's tough. So, no, I agree. I think it should be 2-1-1-1 or whatever it is. But yeah, it's tough travels, I guess. I don't know.
Noli said it wasn't velocity, it was location for Nola. But the velocity hurts, but no, you're right. Location was a serious problem. All right, I'm in business. But I'm starting to think if there's all this belief that Nola will be an animal tonight from great baseball cappers, then that you'd think that first 5 under would be in play. But and it's the same for Ronnie at BetMGM and at for first 5 and for full game. Okay, I'm going to bet on Javier. The guy's a bully. He's a bulldog on the mound.
I like him. And hopefully, I don't know if they've already locked in Game 5. Hopefully, Framber Game 5, and then Justin Verlander Game 6, and we'll roll from there.
Well, I would have no confidence in Verlander.
Well, I mean, I don't either. I fucking don't either. He's got he's got a case of the Kershaws right now, and it's concerning. And every game he's pitched, I have not felt great about my Astros. But who else are we gonna fucking throw up there? Johnny Slapdick? No, I'll take Justin Verlander. Let's throw some dog out there.
BJ says, I'm gonna be honest. I think the Phillies are too hot right now to bet on the Astros. I would sit back and watch, maybe bet the Astros back at home. I don't know if it gets back home.
Yeah, that's the issue, BJ.
I'm a big believer in Javier, and I was very impressed with how he went into New York in that very difficult environment and was exceptional. We've had Noli talk about what his ERA is since August 1st.
Very good.
You go back to July 16th to see him allow 2 earned runs, or more than 2 earned runs. So I believe in.
He's been in. Jay Vegas is saying he's been pitching in the World Series for 3 decades now. I'll say it. He has been in the playoffs so many times already. Maybe not as a starter, but he's been coming out of the bullpen as like the Astros' main bullpen guy for the last 5 years. And this is the atmosphere that, could test him, but he's been in some shit and he's gotten out of it. So this is the guy that if you think that whole atmosphere from the Phillies is going to rock someone, I don't think it's going to be him. Lance McCullers, obviously, we learned he's mentally weak. But, yeah, I love Christian Javier right along with you. So, first 5 under, huh? This is what we're all leaning
to. Matty Ice is going to trust his gut with Nola and move on that first 5 under. If that was my gut on Nola, I would move on it as well.
I'm going to move on the first 5 under. We've talked about it long enough to make me at least pique my interest. It's even money for me at Bet Online. We can obviously make that official as well. Shout out to you, Matty Ice. We have it as well. So, yeah, even money for me.
I'm going to be on the Astros first 5. All right, we're locked in. I will cheer on your first 5 under 3.5. That was a very enjoyable cap. Game 4 of the
another Astros capper coming up here soon. So, shout out to him.
Yes, let's move on to NBA and the season debut of your next guest, opening up his account here with an 11-game big card. Please welcome from Houston, we got LJ in the house. LJ, how are you, my man?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. Finally got to be on Betting with the Bag with Jimmy. Capping NBA. This is my dream. Let's get to work.
Let's get to work. We are all excited about watching you rock this year, and this is a big card for you to get rolling with. Let's get right to work. 6 p.m. Eastern, Washington Wizards 3-4, 1-2 on the road at the Philadelphia 76ers, 4-4, 1-2 at home. We're at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We'll move over to the line history first, and then the cash, and then I'll set just a very quick table for you. Talking about pace, though, these two teams play slowly. Philadelphia has the slowest pace in the league thus far, 95.81 possessions a game, while Washington's at 98.60 possessions a game. We have these Sixers opening up as 8-point favorites this morning at 7:47 a.m. They're now 6.5-point favorites. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 219.5 and dropped to 218.5. Let's see where the cash lies here. We have 5,863 tickets in, 30% of the tickets and 53% of the cash on the Sixers, and yet it's moved 1.5 towards the Wizards. Then you have 80% of tickets on the over, but just 55% of the cash. I don't know how you could bet an over with how slow these teams have been playing. Let's talk about this. This is a second half of a home and home. The Wizards coming off their third straight loss, 118-111 at home to these Sixers on Monday night. It's their third game in 4 nights. It's their fourth game in 6 nights. It was the Sixers' third straight win. Maxey goes for 28. Embiid sat due to illness. We expect him back. Harden 23 and 17. Kristaps Porzingis scored 32. There was 129 points or 229 points scored in that game because Embiid wasn't in the paint. I think that this is the perfect spot to back the under here. I think that point movement makes sense. We have also Beal having to play point guard because DeLon Wright is hurt. And what happens, and Wright's now out 6 to 8 weeks, they don't want Beal at point guard. They want him shooting the ball. They want him at the 2. Spenny says, is Embiid playing? I don't have I'm going to pull that information up, but I expect them to, and maybe that's a mistake. But let's hear what LJ has to say. And maybe that's the reason why it's gone 1.5 over to the Wizards. That's obviously crucial information if you do want to back the under. But let's hand the floor over to LJ. This game being played at 6 p.m. Eastern so that it won't interfere too badly with what's going on the baseball diamond. Take it away for us, LJ. Wizards, Sixers.
Yeah, that is the question, man. Will Embiid play in this game? You know, they say he's day-to-day. It's always a game-time decision with him usually. And the Philly, they play at a much faster pace without Embiid. So I prefer him not to be in the lineup tonight. I think they could take advantage of the Wizards, considering they've lost 4 out of their last 5. They're 25th in scoring, bottom 10 in turnovers, so they don't take care of the ball. And Philly is a great team far as putting pressure on you, far as the half-court ball, because they've had 33 steals in their last 3 games. So I expect them to attack the perimeter of the Wizards, you know, and basically the backcourt, Maxey and Harden, should have a good game as well as they did last game because Maxey's averaging 28 points in his last 3 games. Harden's averaging 10 assists in his last 3 games. And these are 1 or 2 backcourts in the Eastern Conference. Both players are averaging 20 points. It's one other 2 that we're going to get to later. But as far as the game, Philly is second in the NBA in field goal percentage, 4th in the NBA in 3-point percentage. So I am going to attack the first quarter because Philly is 6-2 on the season in the first quarter, averaging 32 points. The Wizards are 3-4, allowing 33 points in the last 3 games in the first quarter. So I think that's the better way to attack this game. Early, get out, get Philly. First quarter, they seem to come out fast, exert a lot of energy, and jump on you real quick. And at the second half, they tend to digress. So the fact that the Philly is 12-1 straight up in the last 13 at home versus Washington, they should be able to win this game. But we already know choosing sides early in the season with big spreads like over 7, it's usually not the way to go right now. We need a bigger sample size to get these teams going, get the players in the lineup, especially them being in and out every other game. They picking and choosing when they want to play. So let's just attack the first part of the games because we can have a bigger side when we're watching these games. We can see how they come out and play. So I take the first quarter, 76ers. I don't know the number because I don't have it on my book yet because of the Embiid situation. So you may can find it for me. I'm going to take the first quarter.
-2.
-2. Okay.
-110 is
Got
available. I'm going to wait on Embiid. I guess the last thing I want to do is put money on an angle and it not be the case. I need Embiid in the paint. If Embiid's in the paint with Philly 95.81 possessions a game, Washington 98.60 possessions a game, also knowing that DeAnthony Melton will play still, 20 minutes because if Embiid's coming back from sickness, he's not going to play 38 minutes in the game. All of that together. Jay Peasy says you read his mind, so Peasy liking that first quarter look. Yes, we did, Stimmy. We did cap college football. It's a tricky card, college football, but I do have moves on the Bowling Green game. I just the whole Rocky Lombardi situation. So I'm going to wait on the Embiid news, and if he's announced in, then I will bet the under, and I guess if he's announced out, probably bet the over as soon as possible.
Yeah, they play at a much faster pace with him out because he tends to slow the game down.
Yeah, and it's not even that; it's that for me, it's the paint is full. And you can't. If you're gonna drive, you better be kicking because. All right. Okay, we're locked in. Game 1 is locked in here. We have LJ on the Sixers first quarter -2 and -110. I'm waiting on the Embiid news. Move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Boston Celtics 4-2, 2-1 on the road at the Cavaliers. 5-1, 3-0 at home. Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Boston playing at a pace 98.21 possessions a game, while Cleveland is at 97.13 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here. We have these Cavs opening up +1.5. They're now +2. From a total perspective, it opened up at 222. It's now at 220.5. Let's take a look at where the cash lies in this one. 6,847 tickets in. 32% of the tickets and 45% of the cash is on the Cavs, but the market's not moving towards them. Then you have 38% of the tickets and 64% of the cash on the under. Boston snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 112-94 win at home versus Washington on Sunday. Brown finished with 24. Brogdon, 23 off the bench. This is the second time these teams are going to meet in 6 days. I thought that game on Friday was going to go to the under. It didn't. It went to overtime. But even if it hadn't gone to overtime, I wouldn't have cashed the under. It's a 132-123 Celtics loss. It was their first home loss of the season. The Cavs coming off their 5th straight win, 121-108 at home over the Knicks on Sunday. This team is rolling. We know what Donovan Mitchell's brought to the table, averaging 32.2 points per game, but look at what Dean Wade's doing, man. 6 of 8 from 3, 8 from 11 from the floor for 22 points. Adding another weapon. This team is just so full of weapons. Take it away for us, LJ. Celtics, Cavs.
I do believe that the wrong team is favored in this game. I'm all over the Cavs in this game. They played a thrilling overtime game last Friday. Both these teams shoot a lot of threes. Boston shoots 16 a game, which is number 1 in the NBA. Cleveland shoots 14 a game, which is 3rd in the NBA. And that's why that total went over, like you're saying on Friday, because of the way they shoot threes. Cleveland is 5-1 in the first half. Boston is 5-1 in the first quarter. They're both averaging 59 to 60 points in the first half. So my first play is going to be the over 113 -110 because I think that both these teams are going to come out gunning because of how they score the ball. as far as the rebounding, Boston is at a disadvantage. They're bottom 3 in rebounding. Cleveland is at an advantage because they got trees in the lane that can clean up the boards. Boston is just very limited because they're just too small. And the fact that they've been out rebounded the last 4 games, I'm all on Cleveland, man. I'm on Cleveland first half, and I'm on Cleveland money line full game. I just don't see Boston having the energy to sustain the whole game, considering how Cleveland, like you just said, they got production from everywhere. All 5 players, Mobley, Allen. And I'm also on this double-double because Boston has allowed a double-double at the center position 5 out of their last 6 games so far. So Cleveland is plus 12 point differential, which is best in the Eastern Conference. And I think these 2 teams are on a crash course to meet up in the playoffs. And I love the Donovan Mitchell trade. I think that's an excellent pickup for them because he's bringing 30 points to that lineup. And once Darius Garland gets back in this lineup, Cleveland is going to be a bet-on team. So I'm just waiting for that to stack my money on them. But as far as this game, I'm all on Cleveland. The wrong team is favored in this game.
Well, let's lock you down with all of excuse me, all of that action. It's hard to believe that Garland's still out, questionable for tonight. I didn't think he'd still be out at this point. This is a tough loss for them, but they're sure handling it well.
Maybe they're taking their time. I mean, maybe they really don't need him right now.
Well, yeah,
they get fully healthy. Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So did you want to, was that 113.5? Was that the first half over or was that the?
Yeah, first half over.
First half over.
Yeah, I got it at 110.
We can get you at 112.
Okay.
There is a 111.5 at minus 117 or a 112 at minus 105. What would you prefer?
I do the 112 minus 105.
All right, we have over first half over 112 at minus 105. Then we'll give you the Cavs first half. And you wanted the first half for the Cavs on the spread full game money line?
Full game money line. I'm on it.
So we can get you a +1 at minus 105 for the first half. First half +1 at minus 105. And then full game money line here. This over here. Full game money line, we can get you a +117 at 5 dimes.
Yes.
And then Mobley double. Do you have
Allen double. I'm sorry. Jared Allen double. Yeah, I said Mobley can get it. Like either one of them can get it. But the fact that Jared Allen got it the last game, I'm just gonna stick to him. So Jared Allen double.
Jared Allen double. Do you need me to find that?
Yeah, because I don't have the juice on here. They don't have it on my book.
All right, no problem. I will find the Jared Allen double. Wow, LJ all over this Celtics Cavaliers spot. I imagine that you would actually prefer at this point for Garland not to come back in this game. Just because they have the continuity, they have the rhythm going on. And when he comes back, obviously they're going to be better in the long run. I'm not saying anything like that, but just in the short term, that what they have going on right now is working.
Yeah, because I like the fact that Donovan Mitchell is playing the point. You know, he's distributing the ball, he's scoring. Once Garland comes back, he's going to play off the ball. So that probably will limit his possession. Not to say that they're going to digress and be a bad team. I just like the cohesiveness right now. And the fact they just played this team Friday, I think they're going to get them. They're looking for some get back. Even though they won, I think they won the game, didn't they, in overtime? Yeah, they won the game in overtime. So I just think Boston is at a disadvantage in the paint. They need Robert Williams back. And Jason Tatum is leading the team in points and rebounding. That's going to digress, later on. He's exerting too much energy on both sides of the court. So you can't depend on one player to do either for you. So I'm on Cleveland.
I like it. Okay, I will get the doubles up here shortly. I'm looking at a couple different books. I will find you the best one. Let's roll on. We roll on. Next up for us is Sacramento Kings at Miami Heat. These Kings 2-4, 1-1 on the road. Heat 3-5, 2-3 at home. We're at FTX Arena, Miami, Florida. Sacramento playing at a pace at 102.08 possessions a game, while Miami's at 98.38 possessions a game. And both teams are dealing with injuries right now. The most important one is De'Aaron Fox not going to be in the lineup tonight. Davian Mitchell will be the starting point guard there. And then Tyler Hero may be out of the lineup. We aren't sure. Got poked in the eye. So that's the situation. Let's go over to the line history here in Kings Heat and see what we are dealing with. We have the Heat opening up at -6.5. They're -6 right now. This half-point move happened at 10:47 a.m. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 224 and it's dropped all the way down to 221. See what the cash has to say. 5,472 tickets in, 40% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the Kings. And then you have 42% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on the under. And the books have moved that under. There's my guy, Officer of 50 in the house. Great to see you. So Kings coming off their second straight win, 150-108 at Charlotte on Monday. And Kevin Huerter, 18.3 points per game and 53.2% from three. Heat on the second half of a back-to-back after snapping their two-game losing streak with a 116-109 win at home over the Warriors last night. And it's going to be hard to, after beating the defending champs, to step up against the lowly Kings without De'Aaron Fox. I can understand why the sharp action is on the Kings. LJ, what are you doing here?
I'm not touching this game, considering what you just said. Too many moving parts. Fox is out. Hero's out. And the Heat exerted a lot of energy in that fourth quarter last night against Golden State to take that game. So I don't even think that they will even be motivated to even try to compete in this game. So I just stayed away. Both these teams are bottom 10 in 5 offensive categories. So I didn't really cap this game, considering the Heat is on a back-to-back. I don't see the motivation aspect. And as far as a home favorite, with the line being 6.5 points or higher, but less than 10 on the second night of a back-to-back, the Heat 5-17-1. That's only a 23% cover rate. So I'm not touching this game. I'm staying off. I don't have none on this game. I'm just going to sit back and let these teams play, because I just don't trust the fact that Miami will be motivated to even want to play this game.
I think it's a perfect opportunity to bet the Kings here at +6, and I will be doing that. I'm going to be on the Kings +6 and -110, assuming that's available when the show ends. And interestingly enough, and I'm going to find it, but at a bunch of books for the Boston-Cleveland game, they're only giving out Boston player props. That would be because they think that Garland may play. And they don't know what to put out because of that, which is pretty interesting. If anybody out there could help find a Jarrett Allen double-double prop, that would be helpful. Alex says, Bucket says the Heat are going 77-5, so I guess Heat today. Gas Report says, who's making up for Fox's 30-plus points? Scoring is not the problem for the Kings. So, I mean, look, Mitchell put up 23 points in that 115-108 win at Charlotte.
Yeah, I like Davion. I like Davion Mitchell. But, he's a bench player. So what can you expect him against a Heat team that plays defense, even though, they may have some players out but I just can't trust. I like the Kings should cover. Like I said, it's value on the Kings, considering, like I said, how Miami exerted all that energy last night, and the Kings, had a couple of days off, I think. So I see the value on the Kings. I just can't put my money on it.
Yeah, I hear you. This is the kind of backing a bum team that I kind of enjoy. I'm going to do it here. I see the sharp action on them, and I agree with it. And it's very tough to beat the defending champs and then come back against a terrible basketball team. Maybe it should be the Kings early, really. But then part of the reason why you want to fade the Heat is because they're on the second half of back-to-back, so you want to be against them in the fourth quarter. So it's there's multiple stuff there. And everybody's saying there's no props at all for the Cavs at this point.
Okay. Well,
so at this point, we're going to take we're going to not – obviously not put the juice, but we'll keep an eye out on the Allen double-double, but nothing available yet. Kings +6, -110 for me. Let's roll on. Next up, we have 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Atlanta Hawks, 4-3, 2-2 on the road at the New York Knicks, 3-3, but undefeated at home. We're at Madison Square Garden. in New York. Atlanta pace 101.43 possessions a game, while the Knicks pace is 100.35 possessions a game. Let's move over to the line history here in this one. We have the Hawks opening up at +2.5. They're now +2. From a total perspective, it opened up at 229 and it shot all the way up to 233.5.
Wow.
Let's see what the cash is telling us in this one. 15,497 tickets in. By far the most bet on game on the card thus far. 37% of the tickets and 46% of cash on the Knicks. It's 50-50 on the tickets, but 57% of cash on the over. And they seem to be nervous about whoever is betting the over because we've seen this total climb and climb. One of the interesting things here is we all have the vividness bias of Trae Young stepping up at MSG. One of the stats that surprised me looking into this game is that this Hawks team is 3-10 in Trae Young's 13 games at Madison Square Garden. For whatever reason, I have these images of him being so spectacular here, but that doesn't necessarily equate to victories. Atlanta comes in off their second straight loss, a 139-109 beatdown at Toronto on Monday night. They had a post-game closed-door meeting after the game. They were not pleased. They were down a point 4 minutes into the third, and they were down 35 in the final minutes of that basketball game. Trae Young scored 42 in their loss to the Bucks, and then 14 points on 13 field goal attempts on Monday. You can imagine he's going to be shooting the ball a ton tonight. Knicks coming off their second straight loss, 121-108 at the Cavaliers on Sunday. This is another team that got beaten up badly in the fourth quarter. They got outscored 37-15 in the fourth quarter, and they've been outscored, a 3-3 team. They've been outscored 160-137 in the fourth quarter this season. Coin has some Knicks money line in his pocket. Joe Chris on the Knicks -2 saying Knicks spot. Troy Torrance says Hawks 1-9 against the spread and straight up last game of a road trip last year. Just a bad road team, which is magnified when they're an underdog. Knicks top spot. Take it away for us, LJ here. Hawks, Knicks.
Yeah, man, this should be a Knicks spot. Considering you just said the record of the Hawks playing the Knicks, they're also 1-6 in their last 7 games versus the Knicks. So even though Trae Young, he likes to go to Madison Square Garden and put up points. He's averaging 30 the last 6 games there. But like you said, it just doesn't equate to wins. And the Knicks are playing good ball right now, man. They're number 1 in points in the paint, number 1 in field goals made. So they're playing good ball. But I just don't like the fact that the Knicks have lost their last 6 quarters, allowing 123 points in the last 3 games. The Hawks have lost their last 5 quarters, allowing 124 points in the last 3 games. So I'm leaning towards the over 223 because I see a lot of points in this game. I think Trae Young will continue his spectacular performances like he do in Madison Square Garden because he's averaging 35 plus in 4 of his last 5 games. But I'm waiting for Bogdanovich to get back in that Hawks lineup before I bet on the Hawks. I think they really need him. They need his 3-point production because he averaged like 15 to 17 points a game. So what you add with that, with him and Murray, with Young, and also that's the other team that has 2 players in the backcourt averaging 20-plus points in the Eastern Conference. So it's Cleveland and it's New York. I mean, not New York, Atlanta. So, but I think Murray has been a good addition to the Hawks. He puts pressure on the other players as far as the other side's best players. So Trae Young really doesn't have to play defense on the best player all the time. But I'm just going to probably lean towards the over because I can't pick a side because the way the Knicks are playing and considering the record that the Hawks have versus the Knicks. So I'm just going to stay off the side and lean towards the over 223.
Is this just going to be a lean, or did you want to make this official?
I'm going to make it. I'm going to think about it towards the show, and I'll make it official at the end of the show once we go over everything.
It's moved to 234 at some books. So that's a 4.5 point move at Bet365 and a 4-point move at other books.
Yeah. Let me think about it. I'm leaning towards it, but I'm just going to think about it. But I do have my props, though, of course. I'm a prop guy. Like I said, everybody get your pens and papers out, ladies and gentlemen, because pretty much I have props in every game. If I'm not taking a side, I'm picking players because I think we need to attack these props early before these bookies catch on and juice up their averages. So, first of all, Trae Young, over 29.5 minus 114. I see him getting 30. I don't, he's averaging 30 versus the Knicks in the last 6 games. So I don't see that digressing in any way. And I'm all on John Collins over 8.5 rebounds plus 102 because he's had 10 plus rebounds in 5 of his 7 games. He's a rebounding machine. So I'm going to stick to that trend. I think he will get those rebounds, and I think Trae Young will get his points. But like I said, I can't take a side because I just don't trust the Hawks on the road versus this rivalry game that they tend to not win versus the Knicks.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I like what you're doing here. One of the things is these closed door meetings. Something has to be shown. It always is. Unless you believe this Hawks team has no heart, you have to expect them to show something after getting killed. And I think it will be early, even though they broke down late. Joe Chris saying Trae, then who? Look, if it's the depth of the Knicks team that is the most, is the biggest advantage that Knicks bettors have, then I think they're going to answer after getting stomped on by a Raptors team that was missing Fred VanVleet. So I'm going to move on the Hawks first quarter, and I think that the plus a half, I'd rather just have no vig. So I expect, let me just see what I'm being offered here in this spot. I'm expecting plus 100. That's fine. I'm going to take the Hawks first quarter money line at plus 100. Expecting something to happen after a closed door meeting. And these are the angles that I enjoy immensely. So LJ on Trae Young over 29.5 points at minus 114, and Collins over 8.5 boards at plus 102. And I'm on the Hawks first quarter money line at plus 100. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern is next. Charlotte Hornets 3-4, 2-2 on the road. Chicago Bulls 4-4, 2-2 at home. We're at United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Charlotte 101.48 possessions a game. Chicago 101.06. They're all both playing right around the same pace. There's my man Good in the house. Thank you for joining us. Let's move over to the line history in Hornets Bulls. We have these Hornets opening up at plus 6. They're now at plus 5. So a 1-point move towards the Hornets. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 228 and has dropped all the way to 223.5. We see books very confused in totals throughout the beginning of this season. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 5,964 tickets in, 48% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the Hornets in a move towards them. Then 31% of the tickets and 91% of the cash on the under. And clearly, a syndicate or a pro came in and made a big bet on the under, and the books recognized it and are uncomfortable with it and have dropped it heavy. There's our guy, Son Dizzle, in the house. Perfect timing because we're talking NBA. Charlotte comes in off their third loss in 4 games, 115-108 at home for Sacramento on Monday night. No LaMelo, no Rozier, and Dennis Smith Jr. is trying to get a career again in the NBA. Chicago on the second half of a back-to-back after snapping their 2-game losing streak with a 108-99 win at Brooklyn last night. Then they have to fly home. Andre Drummond being out for the last 2 games with the shoulder injury, and if they're worried about Levine's knees, the market is telling us he's not going to be in the lineup. Take it away for us, LJ. Charlotte, Chicago.
Yeah, I've already seen Levine's out, so that's why their totals dropped, and that's why I'm not going to be on the side because they're on a back-to-back 4-game and 6 nights. I'm just like with Miami. How are the Bulls going to be motivated to beat this Charlotte team, considering they just beat the Nets last night? And Levine, he had 20 of his 24 points in that fourth quarter last night. So, like I said, the Bulls, they exerted a lot of energy in that fourth to take down the Nets. So now they're coming home against a Charlotte team on rest. Charlotte should cover this spread easily. They put up a lot of points. They averaged 117. Last 2 games, they put up 120. So I could see Charlotte covering this score, possibly winning this game outright. But I'm just not going to pick it. Like I said, I don't like taking sides or teams that don't have their full roster in. So considering that Zach LaVine is out, The Hornets are missing Rozier. They don't have Ball. You're trusting players that haven't really been in a position to perform. So I'm not going to trust my money with that. So I don't have anything on this game. So we can move on. If you have some on it, then hey, let's talk.
I'm going to join Stimmy OG on the Hornets here. I like that you got the 5.5. I need to get that 5. I like it. I like that the Bulls go into Brooklyn and win the basketball game, and now have to get on an airplane and face a lowly Hornets team. It's a very similar situation than the Kings. I think they both cover. And I am on the Hornets, and it is 5. Tell me it's still 5 at my book. Let me just make sure that's still 5, because 4.5s are coming. They're coming quickly. And I got the 5 still. Okay. Excuse me. I like it. I'm with you. Stimmy, let's get that cash. He's also on the Bulls team total under, which I get, but this is not going to be a double up spot for me. Let's move on to 8 p.m. Eastern, and I love when LJ gets to talk about his Rockets. Clippers 3-4, 2-2 on the road at the Rockets, 1-7, 1-1 at home at the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. Clippers playing at a pace of 99.71 possessions a game. Houston 101.88. The Clippers snapped their 4-game losing streak with a 95-93 win at home over the Rockets on Monday. No Kawhi, no John Wall, no Covington, and Paul George had to go 35, 9, and 8 with 6 steals to get them a win. He just isn't going to be able to do that every night for you. I gotta fill up some water and get a quick regroup here, LJ. So let me give you the line history here in this spot for the Clippers game. The spread right now. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. My bad. For Clippers Rockets, we have the spread sitting at 6. It was at 5. There's been a 1-point move to the Clippers. From a total perspective, it opened up at 222. It's now at 223. And from a cash flow perspective, we have 36% of the tickets, 54% of the cash on the Clippers. Expecting them to do it again. The market's saying they're going to do it again. And 53% of the tickets, 55% of the cash on the over. I will be right back in 1 second. Take it away, Mike.
Oh, I cut him off a little bit. There we go. Go, Jimmy. Hello, AJ. Go ahead.
What's going on, Jose? How are we doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to hear you talk about the Rockets.
Hey, well, I am all on my Rockets tonight because they deserve to win that game on Monday. It took Paul George a heroic shot at the end of that game to take down the Rockets because they played very well in that game. They brought the defense. They were motivated to play this game. It's just that they're just too young right now, and situationally, they just collapse. The shot making is just one-on-one. And that's just the thing about having a young team. You don't have veterans on the team to calm you down and put you in situations to where you can perform like that. But I like them tonight at home because especially the first half, because they won every first half at home. And the Clippers are only 1-4 and 2 in the first half. They have a -5 point differential in the first half on the road. So I'm all on my Rockets. First half, I'm swallowing the points to +3. I'm taking the money line +165. Like I said, they're a much better team at home. Jalen Green was averaging 14 points on the road in his last 4 games, but he averages 29 points at home. That is a big difference. So I'm expecting him to have a better game. But like I said, the Rockets, they just have trouble playing in the half court. They are a transition team. They like to get easy backers. They like to steal the ball, get out and run, and get transition points. That's the Rockets game. So if you can take care of the ball, you have the Rockets. You can beat them. But if you're turning the ball over and the Rockets can capitalize off those points, they're a bet-on team. But far as them, they have trouble turning the ball over. And that's their issue because they are allowing 16 turnovers a game, which is 20 points off turnovers is what they're averaging. So that's what they have to limit. They have to take care of the ball, especially in the fourth quarter, because usually they're in these games. They usually have the lead. But once 3 minutes come down, 2 minutes come down, they lose the game because I think they only had 1 point in the final 4 minutes of that Clipper game on Monday. So, like I said, they deserve to win that game. They just collapsed in the fourth quarter. And Paul George took a heroic effort. He did everything. He was a one-man show in that game. So, but I'm thinking the Rockets are going to remember that. They're going to have it on the blade tonight. And I will be at this game live tonight, watching my Rockets take down these Clippers. I'm swallowing the points. First half, +165. and I'm taking the full game plus 190. I'm all on my Rockets tonight.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Might be a Texas basketball parlay kind of day because might go to the Spurs game tonight too. So
Okay.
I like this.
Okay.
I like this. Maybe we can go against my father. He won James Bag, Raptors Spurs tonight. Who knows? Who knows?
Ooh, I love the big money line looks from LJ. We can get you that first half at plus 165.
Yep, got it.
Rockets first half at plus 165 and full game. I'll give you that right here. I'm a little surprised that the bigger bets have come in on the Clippers and it's moved a point in their direction. I did not expect that. We can get you a plus 205 for full game.
Nice. Let's do it.
Is there any player props that you are looking at for this one?
Jalen Green. I don't have it because they don't have it up on my book yet. But whoever can find me, Jalen Green over, because he's averaging 29 points at home. So I'm pretty sure it's going to probably be at 24, 25, over 24, 25, somewhere around there. I'm taking it.
21.5.
What?
At 365.
Oh, yeah. I'm all on that.
It's juiced very heavy at minus 140. I'm going to check out a couple different books. You'll find that some books, instead of moving the number up, will just move the juice up so that it's not bet.
Yeah.
But you can flip it. So look what Spenny did. Spenny took 25 plus at plus 140.
25 plus at 140.
So if you want, you can get 29.5 at plus 390.
Yeah, I ain't going that far. He's only played 2 games at home. Like I said, he's averaging 29 in those 2 games. But I'm looking around 24, 25 points. That's what I'm looking at. That's my limit. If I can't find it, then hey, I can't get it. Because like you say, I know why they got it juice, because they know he's going to get over 21. They know that. But where can they set it? Between 22, 25? Where can we set it at a reasonable price for people to actually make a bet on it?
I can get you that 21.5 at FanDuel at minus 125.
Let's do that. Right. Let's do it.
Over 21.5 at minus 125. 15 cents cheaper. Razor said, did LJ give his MLB opinion? He has not, and we will close with the MLB opinion because I'm interested in that as well. Yeah, awesome. Going to the game tonight. Clippers, Rockets, bounce back spot. And I'm a little surprised at this line here with 52% of the cash and only 35% of the tickets on the Clippers moving a point in their direction, expecting Paul George to put on that cape once again tonight. It's a lot to ask. There's questions in the chat as to where is the spot with full line value from Twandon. I did answer it in the chat, but it's the Spurs. Spurs have full line value at home against the Raptors, but that's not our next game. Our next game is 8 p.m. Eastern. Detroit Pistons 2-6, 0-4 on the road at the Milwaukee Bucks, 6-0, 5-0 at home. We're at Pfizer for Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Both teams playing at a similar pace, just a little over 100 possessions a game, and it's the second half of a back-to-back games against these 2 teams in Milwaukee. Let's start with the line history here in Pistons Bucks. We open up with the Bucks minus 11. They're now minus 11.5. From a totals perspective, opened up at 224, now at 223. Take a look at the cash flow here. 54% of the tickets, 72% of the cash on the Bucks. It just dropped to 72. So then 66% of the tickets, 75% of the cash on the over. Twan, I keep telling you, but I keep telling you, it's the Spurs. The Spurs. Okay. Bucks are in line to match a franchise best start. Who would have thought this with the injuries that they had to deal with off the top? So this was 7-0 was matched by the 70-71 and the 2018-19 squads. Milwaukee beat the Pistons for the 14th time in 15 regular season meetings. Lopez goes for 24-9. But 110-108 was the final score. That was it. 110-108. Still no Bagley, so they had to go much smaller than they expected to. And Cunningham stepped up. And my pleasure, Twandon, my man. My pleasure, my dude. 27 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds for Cunningham. Bogdanovich, 23. Ivy, 19. And the market believes that the Bucks will not take the Pistons lightly here and will smash them with the opportunity to go 7-0 and tie these franchise best starts. LJ, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a different Detroit team. And the Pistons, the Bucks, they shouldn't take this team lightly because the Pistons, they fight to the end. But as far as I'm attacking this game, and everybody should know how the Bucks work, man. First quarter, first half. They're 6-0 in the first quarter, averaging 31 points. The Pistons are 1-6 in the first quarter, averaging 26 points, minus 8-point differential. The Bucks are +9. So I think we should just attack it early, take the Bucks early, because we already know at the end of these games, these teams tend to fight. They want to cover these big spreads, and I just think minus 11.5 is too much because we saw it the last game they played. The Bucks barely escaped the win. So I'm looking at the same thing. I like the backcourt of the Pistons, Cunningham and Ivy. I'm all on Ivy's Rookie of the Year. I took that bet earlier in the year, so I'm all on that. And I just like the way they fight, man. And the Bucks, they always have to push themselves at the end of games. And luckily, they have enough players because they have Middleton out that they can sustain these runs that these teams are coming at them. But I just think the Bucks are too strong, man. Number 1 in rebounding, 2nd in blocks, number 1 in points allowed, only giving up 104. They have no travel. The NBA gods have helped the Bucks out. They've played 5 straight home games. No travel whatsoever. So they should be very comfortable right now. But I just think the Pistons are going to put up a fight later on in the second half. But I'm going to trust the Bucks in the first quarter. I don't have the juice. Like I said, I need y'all to find me the juice. But I'm going to take Bucks first quarter, first half.
Bucks first quarter, first half to come out angry and not take them lightly. We'll give you the Bucks. Oh, sorry, look over the spread. Bucks first quarter, going to be big. It's -4. Minus 109.
What's the half?
And first half is -6.5. There's a bunch of 7s on the board, but we can get you a 6.5.
Now, I'd rather do the first quarter. Let's do first quarter -4. Because they pushed the second half the last game, and I had that. So I'd rather just take the first quarter because like I said, the Pistons only averaged 26 points in the first quarter. I don't see them covering that in the first quarter. The Bucks, they come out fast, they come out shooting, they come out, playing with a sense of urgency. So, and it showed in the first quarter of the last game. They covered that spread in the first quarter. So let's just stick to the first quarter -4. I'm comfortable with that.
You got it. Expecting the Bucks to move to 7-0 and to clap back at the Pistons, who a really nice effort.
Yeah.
This is the next spot on the board, a possible Jose Bouquet appearance at the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. We were all there together a couple times on our big Pub-Up Palooza trip. Raptors 4-3, 1-2 in the road. Spurs 5-2, 2-1 at home. Let's start with the line history here in this one. We have the Raptors opening up at -7. They're now -7.5. This last 1-point move happened 12 minutes ago. It was 6.5. The market had moved toward the Spurs 12 minutes ago. Raptors money must have come in. The total opened up at 225.5. It's now 224. We already talked about the Spurs having full line value, but they don't really have the bigger bets. They have the public bets. Now, there's just 4,350 tickets in. You can compare that to the Hawks-Knicks that has 17,000 tickets in. 28% of the tickets, 37% of the cash on the Raptors. 56% of the tickets, 96% of cash on the over. Lee Davis is on Spurs money line. Stimmy OG's on the Spurs +7. I'm a little surprised at this move that happened 12 minutes ago. Raptors coming off their third win in 4 games, 139-109 over Atlanta at home on Monday night. Siakam 31-12. Scotty Barnes, Gary Trent Jr. each go for 21. OG goes for 14, and they played without Van Vliet, who is a game-time decision this evening. Spurs coming off their second straight win, 107-98 at home over Minnesota. The team is rolling. Keldon Johnson, 25 points. Dougie McBuckets, 23 off the bench. Listen to this. Their 5-2 start is tied for its second best record ever after 7 games. Who would have possibly thought that? Maybe Joshua Primo is somewhere pulling his dick out, celebrating. Let's see what LJ has to say about this one. Raptors, Spurs.
Yes, man. Raptors and Spurs. Spurs, I just don't trust them to take a side. Too many young players, man, and I don't like how Toronto's playing. They bring the energy every single game, but they're number one in fast break points. They're number one in turnovers, so they take care of the ball. They don't turn it over, and they're number one in steals. So they take advantage of the passing lanes. They don't give up easy baskets. So, but like I said, as far as the first half, both these teams are averaging around maybe 56, 57 points. I see Toronto's averaging 56. They're 4-3 in the first half. Spurs averaging 60 points in the last 4 games. They're 5-2 in the first half. So that number puts me at 116, and I think the over is 114 first half. So I think I'm going to jump on that because I'm looking at a lot of points in the first half, and I'm looking to the San Antonio to digress towards the end of the game because of the players that Toronto has. I like Keldon Johnson on the Spurs. I think he's questionable with a calf. So
yeah, he's just been ruled out.
Yeah,
that must have been the point move there.
There you go. Then I'm sure not taking the Spurs on. I can't trust the +7. So I'm just going to stick to the first half because I think Toronto will come out and get maybe 55 to 60 points in the first half to cover that 114. So that's my first play on this game. Over 114 first half of the total. And I'm on a prop in this game. I'm taking Anunoby. 2+ steals +100 because San Antonio allows 10 steals a game at home, which is bottom 3 in the league. Anunoby had 6 steals his last game. He has 2+ in his last 4 games. So that's my prop for the game. Anunoby, 2+ steals +100. And I'm taking the first half over 114 total.
I like it. I like it. That 114, we can get you a -110. A bunch of books have moved to 114.5, but we can get you at 114. So over first half, over 114, -110 for our guy LJ. Bo Jackson say OG leading the league in steals. That's a good prop.
Mm-hmm.
Bo Jackson says if Johnson is out, you got to be nuts to think the Spurs will win this game. It's moved from 6.5 to 7.5 when that announcement. Let's just look at the time of that announcement. Yes, they announced that at 12:41 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah,
and that point move was at 12:43. So
yeah, because this game wasn't even on my book earlier. It just came up on my book because they just announced that injury. So it makes sense.
Yeah, it's 7.5. Okay. So looks for LJ OG 2+ steals. First half over 114 -110. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. The Utah Jazz 6-2, but 2-2 on the road. At the Dallas Mavericks 3-3, 2-1 at home. We're at the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas. Utah 101.97 possessions a game, while Dallas way down to 96 possessions a game. We just talked about that Raptors team. That Raptors team playing at just 96.50 possessions a game. Let's move to this one. See what's going on with the line history here in Utah, Dallas. Here we go. Dallas opening up -5.5. They're now at -6.5. So at 12:50, so 6 minutes ago, it moved to 6. And 1 minute after that, it moved to 6.5. So these last moves have just happened. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 222, now at 221.5. Cash-wise here, we have 10,781 tickets in, 52% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on Dallas. Expecting a Mavericks smack spot. 55% of the tickets, 67% cash on the over. And there's Cameron Hurts saying Dallas smash spot. Mohair saying Dallas smack city. Utah comes in off their third win in 4 games. 121-105 at home over Memphis on Monday night. Markkanen absolutely rolling, averaging career highs in scoring, rebounding. Dallas comes in off their second win in 3 games, 114-105 at home over Orlando on Sunday. Christian Wood was listed as questionable with non-COVID illness. Maybe he's in. We know that Nicolina and Bertans are not ready. Luka coming off 44 points in that 114-105 win. He had 30 in the first half. Take it away for us, LJ. Jazz, Mavericks.
Hey, I'm all on the Mavs as well, man. First half, full game, smash spot. I just think Utah is at a disadvantage. They allow 119 points on the road. They're averaging 53 points on the road in the first half, while Dallas is averaging 60. And Dallas is +8 first half margin at home, which is number 1 in the NBA. So I'm going to trust Dallas does it again, come out, smash first half. I got -3 full game. I think they're going to smash again because they're +11 at home in the second half, which is second in the NBA point differential. They're top 10 in points scored and points allowed. The only other team is Phoenix, and I think Cleveland is that as well. So I'm just all on Dallas, man. And they have a nice history versus the Jazz. They're 5-0 ATS in the last 5 versus Utah, 5-1 in the last 6 games at home versus Utah, including the playoffs. Like I said, +7.3 point differential in the Western Conference. Tim Hardaway's back in that lineup. Like Dinwiddie, he's averaging 16. Christian Wood off the bench averaging 16. I just think Dallas has the pieces, man. And Utah is a much better team at home than they are on the road. So I think Dallas smashes. And, of course, Luka the Don, as Dutch would say. I'm taking his PRA over 50 because he's averaging 37, 10, and 9, which that's at 56 right there. So that puts you way over his 50. And Luka is making a claim for MVP early in the season. So he's doing everything out there. And he plays at such a slow pace, which is so crazy to me how he can put these numbers up considering how slow he plays. So, but I'm all on Dallas, man. First half, full game, and I may even consider the under 221.5 because I don't see Utah putting up any points in this game. Dallas, they only allow 100. They're allowing 106 points at home, which is top 5. So I say all 3 of those plays are booked for me, man. Dallas all day.
There is one first half -3 on the board. It costs 5 cents, so it's -115.
Okay.
There's a full game -6 at -110.
Okay.
And then Luka over 50 points, rebounds, and assists. What's the juice with that one?
I had -110. I don't know what you can get though.
Okay, I'll look around, but we'll work with that right now. A lot of cappers believing in the Mavericks smacking here, and I'm interested.
Yeah, they have a nice history with Utah. Like I said, in the playoffs, last 2 seasons, they like smacking up Utah, and this is without Donovan Mitchell and Rudy. Like they were doing that with them, and now they don't have them. I just think Luka's going to make a statement with his team because he got, like I said, Tim Hardaway back in the lineup. Dinwiddie's been playing. He got Wood. They got some players. Like, they play defense, and they're not going to let Utah score on them, especially at home. So,
if I had the numbers that Razor had, I would be concerned as well, but I don't have those, Razor. I have Pinnacle opening this up yesterday at 3:59 p.m. at 5.5, and the move to 6 and 6.5 just happened. So if I had a book that opened at 7.5, I would be nervous. Let's see what Bookmaker opened it at. Bookmaker opened it at 6.5, went down to 6, back 6.5. Bet365 opened this at 6. So where it is now. Why don't we see Bet Online opened at 6.5. I don't have any books that opened it. Excuse me, at 7.5. Sports Interaction opened it up at 6. So you're right, Razor. I would have real concern if there had been reverse line movement, but I don't see that here. I see what I think is happening here is that we have a low amount of tickets in. Let's see how many we have. Sorry, let me pull this over here. We have. Where the hell is it? Oh, I know what just happened. Sorry, this will pull up here a second. I think that we're dealing with a small amount of tickets. Oh God, sorry. Just here we go. Sorry, it dropped off there for a second. And we're talking about a Jazz team that's been playing very well and covering and making people money. So the Jazz have 48% of tickets. Only 10,000 are in, but 8% of the cash. On the money line, it's only Jazz bets coming in, but that happens. Razor says DraftKings did open up a 7.5. So, I can understand your angle there. I went over Bet Online here already, though, Razor. Bet Online, maybe this is wrong here, but I have Bet Online opening this up. The opener was yesterday at 3:38 p.m. at 6.5, which is where it is right now. But I guess what you're saying is if there's 92% of the cash on it, it should be a bigger move towards that squad. And I do agree with that. Sammy Commerce says Dallas wins by 8-12. I think I'm going to join you guys on this Mavs look, but I'm not going to double up here. I would just go full game here. Cameron saying the under is definitely in play for the total. All right, let's roll on with 2 games left on this NBA card. 9 a.m. to go. 10 a.m. Eastern. Grizzlies 3-2-3 on the Portland Blazers 5-1-3-1 at home. We're at the Moda Center. Portland, Oregon. Memphis playing the pace of 105-0. 9.1. Let's go to the line history here. In this one, we have Memphis.
Hey Jimmy, I think your mic is yeah. Can hear you.
I apologize.
There you go.
I'm back.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, thanks. My mic's been messing around the last few days. Okay, the Grizzlies opened up at -2. They're now at -4.5. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 227. We're now at 226.5. Cash flow here. We have 62% of tickets, 75% of cash on Memphis. And shout out to Dabby Cap, now a member of Ruby Pubbin. Thank you. 60% of tickets, 80% of cash on the over. So we have big bets coming in on the over and big bets coming in on the Grizzlies. We move from 2 to 4.5. Memphis comes in off back-to-back losses at Utah, 124-123 on Saturday night, 121-105 on Monday night. It's funny. You take Desmond Bane off of this team, and they struggle. Bane is a big piece. Moran goes 37 points, 12 of 18 shooting on Monday, and they lose 121-105. He's very angry. Without Bane on the floor, they go 6 of 26 from 3. They were down by 25 points. Dylan Brooks goes for 19, but he was just 6 of 16 from the field. Blazers bounce back from their first loss of the season to win 125-111 at home over Houston on Friday night in their first full game without Dame Lillard. I don't know why I wasn't on them. It bothered me so much. Of course they step up in their first game without Dame. What do they do in their second game? They probably lose to an angry Grizzlies squad. And the fact that this went from 2 to 4.5 probably means that that Bane's back in the lineup. I'm going to pull that information up, see if we can get any last-minute Desmond Bane news. But this is an angry Grizzlies team. Take it away, LJ. Grizzlies, Blazers.
Yeah, this game wasn't even on my board. And I think they're waiting to see if Bane is going to be ruled in. They're saying it's questionable right now, that I'm looking it up. But I don't know, but so I couldn't really cap the game because I don't know if he's going to be in. But I did look at the history of these teams, and without Lillard being in that lineup, I really can't trust Portland to cover because, like you said, Memphis should be angry coming off that loss. Like I said, both backcourts are averaging 20. That's another team, 2 players in the backcourt averaging 20 points, Morant and Bane. So they need Bane in that lineup. Memphis is 5-2 in the first quarter. Portland is 4-2 in the first quarter. So both these teams come out, play very well. Memphis is allowing 121 points, but they're only averaging 118. So that's a minus 3-point differential. And I really don't like backing teams if you give up more points than you score. That's just a rule of mine that I've been tracking and keeping with me for a couple of years now. Portland's averaging 115, only giving up 110. So they're a plus point differential. So until I can see if Bane is going to be in this lineup, I really can't pick a side. But I am going to be on a prop in this game. And everybody should know where I'm going. Anthony Simmons, points over 20.5. I think it's at 110. I'm not sure. Y'all can find the juice for me, but I'm all on Simons because he averaged this in the 2 games last year versus Memphis, and he was coming off the bench. So now he's in the starting lineup. I see the production with him. I like Jeremy Grant. You know, he's a very good piece in that lineup with them. I don't know if Josh Hart is in the lineup as well because he's a rebounding machine. I think he averages like 7 or 8 rebounds a game as well because I'd be all on his prop as well. I think they juiced it because the books caught on to him. So, but other than that, Portland is 5-0 in their conference, 3-1 at home. So until I can see Bane ruled up in this lineup, I can't trust to pick a side. But I will be on Anthony Simmons prop over 20.5 points.
And what is the Simon's prop?
I had over 20.5 points, minus 150, minus 110. I'm sorry.
Over 20.5 points for Anthony. This to me seems like a perfect spot. Perfect spot. You have a very angry Grizzlies team. Obviously, we need Desmond Bane back, but after he saw this team shooting from the outside, even if he's not back, you saw the Blazers step up without Dame. Now they're going to do it again against a very angry Grizzlies squad.
Okay, it's now over 24.5 minus 120. Anthony Simons, 24.5 minus 120.
Oh, jeez.
Well, he's going to get it.
Let me see if I can beat that number for you when we talk about the next spot here. Let me see if I can look at that. I'll look that up real quickly, but we'll do it when we're talking about the next game. But that seems like we might be able to fuck around finding something better than that.
Okay.
Get the juice down too. Let's see what they're hanging at FanDuel. 130, well, at least minus 113.
Okay.
Start there. I'll check a couple other books as well. I think the Grizzlies fight back here. I really do. An angry group. Now, the problem is that you're sort of betting that Desmond Bane will be back.
Mm-hmm.
Astute Chaos says Grizzlies have the same problem they had last year where they can't create shots or opportunities offensively.
Good point.
I think the Grizzlies fight back, I'd be very confident in them early. The market's moving towards them. The cash is on them. This is it's all telling me that the Grizzlies are going to succeed here. I don't want to have a double up on them. Okay, I've got to decide between first half or full game. Don't want both. Okay. I'm going to be on the Grizzlies. We got Anthony Simons over 24.5 points for LJ minus 113. Let's go into our final spot on the board. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. New Orleans Pelicans 4-2, 3-1 on the road at the LA Lakers 1-5, 1-2 at home. Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. The Pelicans 98.78 possessions a game. Lakers 105.25 possessions a game. Lakers the fastest team in the league. So funny. That makes me laugh so hard that's Darvin Ham's plan. Well, we got all these old guys that are questionable every game. Let's sprint up and down the floor. The Lakers open at +3 at minus 105. That's where they stand right now. From a totals perspective, they open up at 229.5. They're now at 229. They did drop to 228.5. They're back at 229. Razor saying the Phillies just jumped to minus 110. We do want to hear what LJ thinks about his Astros in play tonight. Move over to the cash flow for this one. 89% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on the Pelicans. That's a lot of cash to be on the Pelicans. And the market is not moving towards the Pelicans. Astute Chaos says, give me the Pelicans early and often.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Burns says, if Ingram was in, I'd play the Pelicans minus 20. He's not in, and the market's not moving towards the Pelicans. 52% of tickets, 57% cash on the under. Pelicans coming off their second win in 3 games. 112-91 at the Clippers on Sunday. They're well rested. Zion has missed consecutive games. Had his first double-double of the season. 21 points, 12 boards, dished out 7 assists after missing 2 straight. So Zion comes back. Herb Jones, Brandon Ingram missed their 3rd consecutive games. Ingram is going to be out, but Herb could come back. I'll look that up. Lakers coming off their first win of the season, 121-110 at home over the Nuggets on Friday. They were the last team in the NBA to finally win a game. LeBron goes for 26. AD goes for 23 and 15. But AD is still struggling with his ongoing lower back strain. Take it away for us, LJ. Last game on the card: Pelicans, Lakers.
Everybody knows that the Lakers suck. So I see why all the cash is on the Pelicans. So I'm definitely jumping on the Pelicans first quarter because the Lakers are 0-6. They haven't won a first quarter yet. And I don't see it changing in this game because these teams are going in completely opposite directions. The Pelicans are top 3, plus 7.5 point differential in the Western Conference. They're top 3 in field goal percentage, second in the NBA in 3-point percentage, second in points scored, third in the West, like I said, in point differential. So, and they are a top 10 in 9 offensive categories, while the Lakers are bottom 10 in 6 offensive categories. So I don't see the Lakers doing anything against the Pelicans tonight because the Lakers, they struggle with size and playing defense. And what do Pelicans do? They have size and they play defense. So I think this is a very horrible mismatch. And if Herb Jones plays, it's definitely a horrible mismatch. I don't see the Lakers doing anything in this game. So I'm definitely on first quarter, and I'm on full game. I got -3. I think the Pelicans early and often smash these Lakers and continue the streak of them being the worst team, in my opinion, in the NBA. People will say the Rockets are, but hey, I would think the Lakers are right there as one of the worst teams in the NBA. And I'm going to take the Lakers team total under 113 because they've only scored 113 points one time, and that was the win against Denver, their last game. So Pelicans all day, full game, first quarter.
Why is the not moving?
Hey, Jimmy, your mic's up again. It might be time. It might be time. We might have to have a mic funeral for Jimmy. We might have to.
Hey, no, he said it in the chat. He said, time for a new mic, Jimmy.
Yeah, earlier I thought it was me. I was like, oh, my internet connection must be messing up. And nope. Yeah, we have to have a funeral prior for Jimmy. It's going to be sad. It's going to be sad. Hey, LJ, I agree with you, though. Lakers stink. Worst team in the league. Anthony Davis was supposed to be
how long do these mics last for? Just like 3 or 4 years.
I mean,
kind of thing?
it's technology, man. It's always, you always got to upgrade eventually.
That's what they get you. They give you that 3-4 year timer and then just no more mic.
Something's wrong with the mic. Yeah, I gotta. Fuck, sucks. Fuck. Okay, let's lock. Was it going in like that weird sound again? Was it fucking up like that, or was it just off?
But you're good now.
Okay.
No, it was staticky. It's like you're staticky, but you're good now.
I don't like this. Okay, let's lock you in here. The team total, though, we can get you. Oh, it's down to 112.5. You got it. Did you say you got a 113?
Mm-hmm. I got it at 113, a -110. Let me see if it's still up here. Team total. Yeah, it's still at 113, -110 for the Lakers.
Oh, Danny Lopez says it could be the auxiliary cord. Okay, we all fuck around with that. 113 -110. You guys, don't worry. I don't need a GoFundMe account. All right, don't worry. Everything's gonna be just fine. All right, everything's gonna be just fine. Thank you for thinking of me. Everything will be just fine. I just find it crazy that the market's not moving towards the Pelicans. There's 11,537 tickets in. 97% of that cash is on the Pelicans, and it's not moving. It sounds like a gambler's first glance. I don't know if Razor has the balls to bet the Lakers. I don't know if anybody does. I'm 0-2 betting the Lakers this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
To me, the way I bet is this is a Lakers or no bet. Stimmy on the Lakers. I just when all that money is on it and it's just not moving. Let's just go over the line history again. Let me just go over this at Pinnacle. There's been nothing. In fact, the Lakers went up to +3 at -111. But the first thing that happened yesterday was money came in on the Pelicans and they dropped to 2.5. But then all of a sudden at 4:30 yesterday afternoon, sorry, I take that back. Sorry, I'm not thinking clearly. So the initial move was towards the Lakers. somehow from 3 to 2.5. Then Pelican money coming in, and then it's just been sitting here at 3. It's very confusing. I think that Clove Coleon says save your money to me, no bet. Johnny Gunn says this was the exact scenario with the Bulls last night, and I hammered them spread and money line. Take advantage of the subtle hints the books give you. Take the Lakers. JPZ says Pelicans still number 3 first quarter. Lakers still second to last. Might take the Pels first quarter.
Yep.
I think the Lakers are alive here, and I don't know if I have the balls to back them. Let's just see what I'm being offered in my book here with the Lakers. +3 or +130. Twandon says it sounds like Anthony Davis has a big game against his old team. Mr. Vape says, but does money still come in on the Lakers just because they're the Lakers? Generally, but look at this. I mean, like, we're all looking at the same information. I mean, this is telling us that all of the money has come in on the Pelicans and it's not moving. So I don't want the 3. I would have to take the money line. I'm going to have to think about this a little more, but I expect the Lakers to be on my card. This just feels like a situation where everybody will be on the Pellies. Now, hopefully you'll get your first quarter so you don't need to worry, and then hopefully it's a low-scoring game as well. But
you got some balls to bet the Lakers.
When the market doesn't move in situations like this, 52% of the tickets, 57% cash on the under. So maybe you can still pick 2 or 3. Gas Report says if you get AD from last game, Lakers win. But
yeah, but can we trust that AD from last? And like I said, Denver's a different team than the Pelicans. The Pelicans are a good team. They're a very good team. They're top, like I said, they're top 5 in like pretty much all offensive categories.
But you don't think that the Nuggets are a good team?
Not to where the Pelicans are playing right now. I just think the Pelicans play much more defense. They rebound. And like I said, I just think the Lakers can't score the ball. And they have trouble with size and teams that play defense. And that's what the Pelicans do. They rebound, they play defense, and they have size. Val, Zion. I wish Ingram was in the game. And I'd really be confident enough. But because that's his old team. I love players sticking it to their old team. And I like the angle that they're saying about Anthony Davis. I just don't think he's healthy enough to put up a monstrous game like that right now. I can't trust his health because one fall, he break his back, he's out the game. So I see the Pelicans been handling business. First quarter for sure. Now, the full game, Lakers may come, show us something different in the fourth quarter. But first quarter for sure. They haven't won a first quarter all year, allowing 30 points. So I'm definitely on the Pelicans first quarter for sure.
AD just had 4 days off.
Yeah.
Also, he has one of those chairs that he sits in that takes him all the way up to the second floor of his house. Man. I think that this is a prime for Lake. So I'm going to move on the Lake. I just got to figure out whether I have the balls to take the money line or not. Let's review all action. Let's review all action. Well, yeah, don't worry. I'll be panicking all night because of it. Okay, let's go. We opened up with LJ on the Sixers first quarter -2 at -110. Then he's on the first half over 112 at -105 in Boston, Cleveland. He's on the first half Cavs +1 at -105, and he's on the full game money line +117. And we could not get him a Jarrett Allen double-double. If it comes out and you want to tweet it out and tag us, we can make that official for you.
Okay.
Then I am on the Kings +6 at -110. I'm on the Hawks first quarter at +100. LJ's on Trae Young over 29.5 points and Collins over 8.5 boards. AJ says, are you guys doing friends and family with LJ? Yeah, let's do it. Hornets +5 is a look for me. LJ's on the Rockets first half money line +165, full game +205, and Jalen Green over 21.5 points at -125. He's on the Bucks first quarter -4 at -109. LJ's on OG Anunoby +2 or more steals at +100 and first half over 114 in Raptors Spurs. LJ's on the Mavs first half -3 at -115, full game -6 at -110, and over 50 points, rebounds, and assists. I'm interested in the Mavs full game. There's Trot Wham in the house. He was the last guy we cashed with. friends and family, our guy Trot Wham. Simon's over 24.5 points at -113. I want Grizzlies either first half or full game. I just don't want both, and I've got to figure out. I guess it's got to be Grizzlies early. It's got to be Grizzlies early. So I'm going to take Grizzlies first half. Then the big game in question, Pelicanos, Lakers. We have LJ on first quarter -0.5, full game -3, Lakers team total under, and I'm going to be on either Lakers +3 or the +130 money line. I still have to decide that. That is our NBA breakdown. It is now time for the friends and family parlay. Jose, one hole bouquet. Get us. Do you need time, or are you ready to get us started here?
I think I've got it, and it's going to hurt me to kind of give it out, but I feel confident about it. More confident than really anything I've bet. Phillies team total over 3.5, -112. I think the Bats continue raining fire in Philadelphia.
Phillies team total over 3.5. So you're giving out the Phillies team total while you bet on the Houston Astros.
I bet on the Houston Astros last night. Got jumped. That's -109 now on Bet Online. -101 to the Astros. Not making me feel great. I'm also on that team total, or that full first five, the first five under. So
Lucas says we talk about the markets like they're the ones on the court shooting the ball.
Sometimes they are.
Lucas, I'm winning. That's all that has to be said. I'm winning. I'm making money. Not enough where only gambling could raise my family, so I need to do better. But, yeah, I'll talk about the markets a lot, and I'll keep winning. How about that? Phillies team total over 3.5 for Jose. Let's go. Here we go, Jose. LJ, friends and family parlay. What's your look?
Dallas, first half. Easy.
Mavericks first half. Is that spread or is
3.
that?
Yeah, -3. Yep.
And then it's my turn.
Yeah, always gets to Jimmy very quickly, and then he realizes, oh, I have to make a pick, and then here we are for 10 minutes.
I still, Jose, I don't like the look, man. How you're betting the Astros?
I bet the Astros, and I'm going to bet team total over 3.5 individually. Yeah.
So you're saying it's
on
going to go
first
over.
5 under.
So you're saying these runs are going to be after the 5th inning?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Sorry, guys. I'm a confusing person. This is what happens.
All right. I will. God. I don't wanna...
Johnny Gunn saying take the Lakers, Jimmy.
Oh, Fanatical Jim definitely books reacting to other books. Look, you can easily say that we're putting too much focus on the market. But you can also say I'm having the best year of my gambling career. So there's no fucking truth. Like it's not right. It's all a gray area, but it's working for me. So I'm going to keep doing it. And it is often confusing trying to decipher what these market moves mean to us. But look at what Gambler's First Glance is doing for Razor. I mean, that's Razor studying the market heavy. So, Mr. D, thank you. Okay, there's Kyle Hinlian. I got B-Lab says take the Hornets. What I want to do is take Bowling Green money line. But that's a -210.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I can't parlay team totals on Bet Online. So I'm going to figure out my shit there and probably just take Astros money line, I guess.
Well,
Bet Online, a little finicky about their parlays. It's another annoying part about.
Well, I'm gonna my leg is going to cash. It's just not going to help the parlay very much.
Thank you.
I apologize, but at least it's going to cash. I'm on Bowling Green money line. Bowling Green money line. Look, It's a 3-game parlay minus 210. How low is it? Is it over 4-1?
Plus 460 or 465.
It's fine then. I'm fine.
Yeah, I put Astros money line in there just because. Yeah, I can't parlay team totals. I think the Astros are going to win the game. I do like the over, as people were mentioning, but yeah, plus 465.
Okay, but for our look, it's Phillies team total over 3.5, Mavericks first half -3, and Bowling Green money line. There you have it. Thank you guys so much for supporting us here at Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to LJ. LJ, I get a lot of joy. It takes a ton of time, but I get a lot of joy tracking cappers. Your spreadsheet is going to be up, and you have a lot of action on it. And I hope you get that money, man. I'm excited, and we love capping with you. We are loading up the bars you drop for Pub Sports Radio. It's on our main computer in the studio in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna load it up to ours when Jose gets back there. Okay. We want it here, and that was spectacular. We love it, and I love working with you, man. Do you have any last words before we put a bow on this, my man?
Hey, man, I just love capping with y'all. Like I said, this has been a dream of mine. Past couple of years, I've been watching you, like I do my job, driving my truck, texting, putting my stuff in the chat, because this is how I started, in the chat, talking to the people, giving my plays. So I finally got to get on the show and give my play, give my analysis. I love doing it. This is what I want to do as a profession. So I'm working my way up towards doing that and capping it with guys like you, people in the chat, we have a collective effort to get this money and benefit of what we do, because this takes hard work. This is a lot of studying and researching, and we still have to live our daily lives as well, especially when you got family, because a lot of people are single, so they have a lot of time to themselves. But me, I'm married with children, so I have to balance my time accordingly and still work a regular job and still put the time and the effort to cap these games, because this is what I enjoy doing. So I love it, Jimmy. Thanks for the opportunity. Shout out to the chat, Jay Peasy, Bo Jackson, Don Play, Lucas Ryan, everybody, Matty Ice, everybody, man. Shout out. Thanks for the opportunity. Like I said, I will be at the Rockets game tonight, live in effect, watching them take down these Clippers.
It's just so perfectly put, LJ. We have so much love for you, and there's no ceiling, and your skill level is very impressive, and we are very fortunate that we get to cap with you, my friend. Opening up his NBA account here on Betting with the Bag. LJ in the house. Thank you all so much for your support. Pimp Slap Play of the Day, Flyers plus 1.5. Antoine saying definitely a community. I love it. Thank you guys all so much. On behalf of all of us here at Pub Sports Radio, Jeff Slaughter, thank you to our producer, Jose Bouquet, and loved rolling with LJ today. Thank you for supporting the show. Go out there and get that cash. Leche. Hey, Los bookmakers.